All right. I'd like to welcome you all here. Today is the Select Board meeting of Monday, December 2nd, 2024. We're in the Town Hall. This is the Select Board chamber, and the time is now 5:33. I'd like to make the announcement that we are always here with MCM. We appreciate them, and this meeting is being recorded. I'd like you to all join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. And before we do that, I'd like to make a motion to open the meeting. Do I have a second?
Second. Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
The Select Board meeting is open for December 2nd for business.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty. So this evening, I would like to also just very briefly share comments. We have a long agenda this evening, but I would like to all ask you to politely silence your phones if you could do that for us. And welcome you here. It's start of December. We've got a lot going on in the town this month. Our business is important to us and to the town, and we're going to do our best to put our best foot forward. We'll be ready for town meeting and all the things that come before it, and also have that holiday spirit that we all need to have this time of year. So I'd like to appreciate our select board members, because this is a big job sitting here, so we appreciate it. And let's get to it, right? So, Town Administrator's Report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have my weekly call into WATD to discuss current events, review the Select Board meeting agenda, hosted my weekly DPW meeting with Sean Patterson, DPW Superintendent Sean Strobel, our Treasurer, Meg LeMay, our Town Accountant. Sean Patterson discussed his 5-year CIP plan that was submitted to the Treasurer for FY26. Sean discussed the need to remain competitive with our plow rates in order to get necessary equipment needed to keep our roads plowed and safe for our residents. I participated in a Maya public holiday decoration in your community overview by KP Law. Found that to be rather interesting. Hosted an airport meeting with Town Council Bob Galvin, Airport Commissioner Chair Paul Van Cullenberg to discuss the FBO fixed base operations, zoning issues, and fuel storage. Hosted my monthly department head meeting at the EOC to discuss the joint meeting of the Select Board and Advisory Board to review the special town meeting articles. We also discussed the FY26 budget process, update on free cash, the holiday schedule for our employees. Special town meeting was scheduled for December 16 at Marshfield High School, and we have both the auditorium and the gym ready for special town meeting to accommodate a very large crowd for the MBTA zoning article. Hosted a meeting with Sean Strobel, our Treasurer, and Meg LeMay, our Town Accountant, to discuss the closure of FY24 being complete and the submission of our free cash for certification to the DOR. Participated in the joint meeting of the Select Board and Advisory Board to review the articles for special town meeting. We were joined by our Town Council, Bob Galvin, Chair of the Select Board, Lynn Fiddler, Chair of the Advisory Board, Rick Smith, and our Moderator, Jim Fitzgerald, at Marshfield High School Auditorium. Hosted and participated in contract negotiation with the Marshfield Fire Union with Attorney Rich Messina, our Labor Counsel from Clifford and Kenny Law. Met with Diane Jordan regarding a discussion on excise tax and real estate taxes as a possible funding source for sidewalks through a potential resolution special town meeting. Meeting with the town's architect and facility director, review the plans for the new back and front doors at Town Hall to improve security, efficiency, and better climate management. Hosted a meeting with Enterprise Fleet Management, Rob Davis, to review options for town departments, police, DPW, and Town Hall for vehicles. They take care of vehicles from compact cars to 1-ton trucks. Enterprise, if selected, will help manage the large fleet of cars, including some purchases, leases, trade-ins, repairs, recycling, and 5-year maintenance plan to save the town potential dollars. Participated in the CPC meeting with Sean Patterson regarding our playgrounds around the town and the need to be ADA compliant. We have put in a joint application for $750,000 in funding from CPC to make the playgrounds ADA compliant with poured floors. Sean Patterson gave a brief update on some additional information. Hosted a meeting with the Harbor Master, Mike DeMayo, Town Council, Bob Galvin, and Sean Strobel, our Treasurer, regarding the grant for the new harbor master boat, the resale of the old boat, and the review of the federal requirements surrounding that transaction. Weekly meeting with Fred Russell, Facility Director, and Tony Bullock, the Assistant Facility Director, regarding ongoing town projects that include finish work on the Fire HQ bathrooms and locker rooms, Town Hall front and back doors, GAR Hall work on the doors, windows, and siding, work with the Historic Commission on the blacksmith shop, ramps of the ADA issues at schools, as well as new bathrooms for some of the elementary schools, etc., and ongoing maintenance at Town Hall. Participated in a special select board meeting to approve a liquor license for Wicked Women's event at the fairgrounds on November 30th, and to approve a fee waiver for the fire department project regarding installation of the locker rooms in the bunk area. Hosted a conference call with Matt Parent and Fred Russell regarding EV charging stations grant for level 3 charges at Town Hall parking lot. Hosted the weekly DPW meeting with Sean Patterson, our superintendent, and the chair of the Board of Public Works, Bob Shaughnessy, Sean Strobel, our treasurer, and Meg LeMay, our town accountant, to discuss the indirect charges and the potential process to update the indirect policy that was originally drafted by the Abrams Group. Chair of the Board of Public Works expressed concerns regarding the base calculations and streamlining using cost accounting. Participated in the advisory board meeting to review articles in the special town meeting warrant, including the MBTA zoning, free cash, and unpaid bills. Participated in a walkthrough at Town Hall with the IT and schools, and our vendor who will be supplying the technology for the special town meeting, so that residents attending can be seated in the auditorium or the gym, be able to hear and see in both rooms at the same time. Worked on drafting the agenda for the next opiate fund committee meeting on December 3rd. Survey put together by the committee has been extended through December 5th to allow as many people to participate, and had a conference call with town council regarding a number of issues in town regarding his review and participation. That is my review, Madam Chair.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So on top of the things that we have this evening, we also have public comments, and as of this moment and at the start of this meeting, there were no visitors here for a public comment session. I'd also like to announce there will be no executive session tonight. Is that correct, Michael?
That is correct.
Thank you. Okay, so the time is 5:40, and we have our first appointment at 5:45. So therefore, I'd like to start a couple of the little action items that we have here this evening. Is anybody here for an action item this evening? Okay. So let's run down to, let's start with number 15 which is our motion to approve our meeting minutes from November 4th, 2024, November 18th, 2024, and November 22nd, 2024 meetings. I'd like to make a motion that we approve those meeting minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly second. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the minutes from November 4th, November 18th, and November 22nd.
And I'm going to work backwards. We'll go above that, and the board moves for Chris Shea. Just a second. I did have this silent. Let's see where we are, Chris Shea. So. This is the Recreation Commission, and we have the committee application form. And he's worked in financial services for 15 years, recently took role with Corebridge Financial Services, works remotely and helps government employees and school districts with saving their retirement. Grew up in Hanover, lived all over the U.S. and live in Marshfield now with his daughter. He's an undergraduate of UMass Amherst, sports management. And Gary Pena has given us his approval of this appointment. Any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Any questions or comments?
Is this a new candidate?
Yes, it is.
Okay. No, I don't have anything else to add.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that the board moves to appoint Chris Shea to the Recreation Commission. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve to appoint Chris Shea to the Recreation Commission.
Okay, excellent. 5:43.
To number 13.
Thank you. Okay, number 13 is a discussion and vote on request for permission to waive permit fees. And this is requested by the building department. They're requesting on behalf of the town of Marshfield's DPW to please waive all permit fees relative to the replacement of the generator at the location of 23 Clay Pit Road, which is the transfer station. Request permission to waive gas permit fees for the generator. And that came through Andrew. We have the request at G24475 is the permit. The plumber is Kevin Wrightington. And that's about it. Any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Any questions or comments?
Yeah, just, it said replacing the generator. Is it replacement to the generator?
Yes.
All right, so,
At the transfer
all right, so she's
station.
looking for permits for regards to that, but as well as the gas connections, I would imagine, right?
Well,
Gas
Generator
fitter,
is-
gas fitter
yeah,
permit fee,
yeah,
yeah.
I would
Okay,
say.
that's it.
okay. It has existing gas. Okay. Based on the permit.
It's a natural gas generator.
Thank you. Are you all set?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that the board moves to approve the fee waiver for all permits for the Marshfield DPW relative to the replacement of the generator at 23 Clay Pit Road, which is the transfer station. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve to waive all fee for permits for the Marshfield DPW, Clay Pit Road.
Okay. So the time is now 5:45, and as I said, public comments we didn't have, so we're going to get right to it. And will you reach out to Danielle, please? Good evening.
Aye.
Welcome.
Thank you.
How you doing?
So just give me a second here. So as you know, you're here this evening for the role of the fire chief of Marshfield, our town, and we welcome you here, and I appreciate the commitment you've given to the town that you are working in currently, and to put yourself here for this evening. I know it's a lot, and your merit is something not to be taken lightly. It's really, it's quite impressive. So I appreciate you being here. So for this evening, we have a process that we're going to go through, and it's similar to what you did in the interview process, but each of us individually will ask you a couple of questions. We're going to try to limit those answers to 5 minutes, give or take. We're just going to go through the process. So, and then at the end of that, we'll ask you to complete and follow up with anything you'd like to ask us. But why don't you introduce yourself to our board and to the public? This is recorded and part of the record. So share with us why you're here and what this is going to mean to you.
My name is Mark Gassararo. I'm Deputy Fire Chief of the Pembroke Fire Department. I've been in the fire service since '99. I started my career in Hingham. I spent about 7 years there. I moved over to Pembroke. Been in Pembroke since 2006. Made my way up the chain. Became a captain for about 3 years. Moved up to deputy. Currently deputy now. Been there about 3 years. I'm operations deputy in charge of training and EMS. I'm here to apply for, or hopefully be appointed, the next Marshfield Fire Chief.
Thank you. So this evening, I'm going to ask Eric to start with his questions to you, and then we'll ask Steve, and I'll finish up, and we'll let you do some finishing comments and remarks, and
All right.
that's the process. Is there anything you'd like to see where this is?
No, I think, Madam Chair, you touched
Okay.
upon it, so we'll get right into the
Okay.
questions.
Thank you so much. Okay, Eric, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I just want to ask you, Madam Chair, that when this interview is done with a current applicant, I have some questions in regards to the process of this before we get to Acting Chief LaSalva. If that could be done, I'd be grateful. So I have some questions here. So in the draft description, do you agree with everything stated in the draft description of the position? Do you have any questions with what was presented in the draft description of the position?
I do not.
Do you believe that the draft description is in line with Chapter 48, Section 42?
Okay.
On page 3, number 8, it states, oversees the development and implementation of employee training programs and ensures professional ratings of the department and employee, including emergency medical services. So, can you explain what professional ratings means?
It's standard. I believe it would be a standard of care and a level of service provided to the town.
So, level of service provided to the town is what it means?
Yeah, ratings and fire ratings.
I know it says professional ratings, so this is all new to me, so I'm just asking you.
Yeah, I would say it's standards, the standards of care, ratings of the fire service, keeping to the regulations required.
Okay. On page 4, under abilities, ability to supervise subordinates in a positive and effective manner and to delegate authority efficiently. Do you believe you would be able to maintain do you believe you could supervise subordinates in a passive manner all the time?
I do.
And then on page 4, under abilities, ability to establish and maintain harmonious and productive working relationships with the town, state, or federal officials, fire service officials, and the general public. So do you believe you would be able to maintain a harmonious relationship at all times in the position of fire chief? Do you believe this kind of language would constrain your ability to be a good fire chief if there ever was a time you felt a critical need for something and not being able to acquire and/or address a pressing matter?
No, I could do it.
On page 5 of the draft job descriptions, motor skills, it states that duties may involve a high degree of intense mental concentration together with hand-eye coordination and visual attention for long periods of time in performing activities such as having to operate an emergency vehicle at high rates of speed and often during adverse weather and troublesome road conditions in response to emergencies. So, would you operate an emergency vehicle at high rate of speed during adverse weather and troublesome road conditions?
I would not.
Where do you reside, and do you plan on moving further or closer to the town of Marshfield?
I currently live in Pembroke on Hamilton Drive, approximately 2 miles from the town border.
Do you plan
I plan on moving at some point, yes, probably closer to Marshfield.
closer?
Yes, probably in Marshfield. In Marshfield somewhere, yes. My wife's from Marshfield.
Okay. Do Do you have certificates and/or other paperwork to help support your resume?
Currently on me, no.
No? All right. How come you didn't share it with the select board in regards to your certificates?
I believe I only have one extra certificate that I earned from my resume.
You only have what?
I only have one additional certification that I acquired prior to my resume. Everything should be in my resume.
Well, I
besides-
see it all printed out what you have, but do you have the certificates to back it up?
Currently on me, no.
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 How come you didn't make that part of your packet?
I wasn't explained. No one told me to do that.
Why did you choose a career as a firefighter?
It's been a lifelong dream.
Why do you feel you are qualified to take on this position in your career?
Because I'm a leader. I've been a leader, I've been a manager, I have a proven track record.
And why do you want to leave your current position?
Opportunity. I see that Marshfield is a great town, great opportunity to come here and lead the men of the department forward into the future.
Looking at what you put down here, it's pretty impressive. Put some time into it, and you got all your education credentials, it looks like, or at least a good chunk of them anyways. Is there anything that's left out, like educational-wise, that you'd like to accomplish?
Possibly get my master's degree.
Okay. I think that's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Steve?
Thank you, Madam Chair. What are your thoughts on professional development for both yourself and for the department? And are there any sessions or workshops that you found particularly helpful?
I find it extremely important. Professional development is huge. I didn't believe so years ago, and it took me a little while. As you can see, I had a period of time where I didn't have an education and didn't continue professional development. Since my current chief has taken over the Pembroke Fire Department, he's instilled in me that professional development is huge. I currently have attended multiple FCAM classes, seminars. Currently, right now, I'm trying to bring more Mass Fire Academy classes to Pembroke, making it easier for the leadership within the town to move forward. If I was to get the position here, I'd do the same here. I feel that education is huge. Professional development is a big part of the future of the fire service.
Thank you. This one's a little bit of a long one, but maintaining high levels of morale, motivation, and wellness in a municipal fire department can be very challenging. What strengths do you possess which will help in building a strong department with high morals, motivation, and overall well-being? And if you'd like, could you give an example from your own experience?
Sure. Communication. I feel communication is huge. It's the flagship. It starts everything right there. If you don't have good communication with your team, they don't know what direction to go in. So right off the bat, you need to set your boundaries and set policies, procedures, rules, regulations, and make sure that everybody knows them. If they don't know them, they're not going to follow them. And that's where you get, your freelancing and stuff like that. So I think right off the bat, you need to come in with strong communication skills and build a leadership team that can follow those and instill them into the membership so that everybody's aware of it.
And let's say that you're at a chief's conference in a different part of the state and there's a fire that breaks out in Marshfield. What would be the first steps that you would take to get in touch with your team?
First, I'd try to communicate with my deputy staff if they were on. I don't know what time, depends on timing. And then reach out to the shift commander to find out the status. And in that time, depending on the type of structure or type of incident that's going on, I would stop my way back towards Marshfield. Obviously, at this point, I would have confidence in my leadership team to continue to lead it until I was able to get there, but I'd be available by phone until I got back.
Thank you. And could you just expand upon, the incident command system, what that entails, and what kind of training your command staff goes through to respond to major incidents?
It's very important. Command staff's everything. It's the structure of the fire service. It needs to be extremely strong. You need to train in it all the time. That's, I think, one of the biggest problems of the fire service. We all say that we have a great command staff, but then every incident that has failure is due to communication and the command staff. So I believe that you would have to train on it regularly and make sure that everybody understands the command staff. I've taken leadership classes, ICS classes. There's tons of information out there, and a lot of it's free to them. So we can really move the department forward by education.
Thank you. And this is my last question, and you touched on earlier how your wife is from Marshfield. I just don't know if you wanted to say what your ties are to the community, what it would mean to you to be Marshfield's fire chief.
It means a lot. I've grown up in the area. I spend our holidays in Marshfield. We do Halloween at my in-laws' house. We go to the beaches in Marshfield. Marshfield just has a more variety, more lifestyle than Pembroke does it. And it's more neighborhood. Currently in Pembroke, we don't live in a neighborhood. It's kind of like a side street, so there's no development there with children and playing and fields and stuff like that. So it would mean a lot to become a Marshfield chief.
Okay, thank you for that. So I have a couple of questions, and then we'll see where that goes. But before I get started, I do commend you again for being part of this process, and your merit speaks for itself in your resume. But where I have a lot of concern is leadership and management, right? It requires more than some people are worthy of ever having, right? It's something that cannot always be taught. It has to be instilled upon you, and I'll leave it at that. So that's what I am always. I live here. I've always lived here, and I have the greatest respect for our safety officers and men and women, police and fire. So this is probably the most important job that I have had in my time, and it's also become an emotional thing. So that's just where, and I'll share that with the other candidate as well. So my question is this: it is March 2025, and you are informed by the town administrator and finance director that your overtime budget for the year is almost completely spent. With more than 3 months remaining in the fiscal year, what should you do to address this issue?
There's a lot. I don't have your budget in front of me, so it would be tough to look at. But there's definitely ways that you can cut spending and find ways. I've done it in the past. I've brought our EMS budget in Pembroke down dramatically. I've saved thousands of dollars in supplies and stuff like that. There's definitely room in negotiating with vendors and all that you could realistically save quite a bit of money. I mean, like I said, I don't know what the budget would look like. I don't know where we could transfer money. I would work with the town's finance department to find that and look into, moving money and find out how we can do that. I would reach out to the community of fire chiefs that I've become friendly with and ask them, I'm sure they've been through it. I could reach out to past chiefs here, the police chief, and ask them. I mean, this would be I'm sure if I was going through it, other people have gone through it. So, I believe in reaching out and asking for help when needed.
Okay, thank you. The second question is, you receive a call at 11:30 p.m. on a Friday night from the captain in charge of the shift. He tells you that he suspects one of the firefighters on duty is intoxicated. What should you do?
Immediately have the shift commander remove that firefighter from the area so that no one else in the department can see him. I'd immediately make my way into the department to make sure that we could get this rectified and get him the help he needs, and make sure that he does not leave the station at all. We have a zero tolerance for this, and a lot of people would say that I was ruining his life, but we'd be saving it. Because if he had left that department, if he leaves the department intoxicated and gets into a car accident or something like that, that's the reputation of this town. That would be smeared in the fire department also. So I would definitely make my way in there, try to get the help that he needs, and then discipline would be appropriate.
Thank you. So that concludes my questions. I would like to ask you if you have anything specific, and you've just had a little bit of time here thinking about what Eric Kelly, our select board, had. He had a lot of questions that were different in scope from things that I've heard in the past, and my questions, and Steve, are there any questions directly to what we asked that you would like to add further to?
I don't have any questions, no.
Okay. Is there anything you would like to say
Sure.
in closing?
Sure. Like I say, I really appreciate the opportunity to come here and sit in front of you. I have a management style that is proven. I've managed private ambulance services, 500-plus employees. I've managed businesses. I'm a leader. I can help develop the department and move the department forward.
Thank you. Very nice to meet you. We appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.
So the time is 6:03. I'd like to go into our action items again till we meet the 6:20 time. Which ones will?
Maybe number 9 and number 10.
Okay. Lots of papers for this evening. Okay, just a second. All right. Number 9 is a discussion and vote on request for permission to accept 2 donations through Veterans Services. The town of Marshfield's Veterans Services is requesting permission to accept donations in the amount of $7,000 from MCRCO. The donation will be used to provide assistance for health and welfare, morale, and/or financial need to the veterans and their dependents. We also have this evening a donation in the amount of $200 from Mr. and Mrs. Edward Dwyer, and this also is a donation that will be used to provide assistance for health and welfare, morale, and/or the financial need of our veterans and their dependents. Also like to add, MCRCO is part of the Rib Cook-Off charity, which is fantastic, so.
I just wanted to
Any
give
questions
you
or
a call and
comments?
follow up on my my email from last week. Which, by the way,
That's not me.
No, I know.
Oh.
I said any questions or comments?
Oh, no, sorry.
Any questions or comments?
What was the MCRCO supposed to
It's
stand?
the rib community group. Yes.
All right, cool. I would just like to add, can we stop using the short terms and put the full name in, just to make it official? I mean, like,
Acronyms?
yeah, sort of
Do you have a
using
problem with acronyms?
Yeah, I like
That
to,
was
I like
at
to.
the very beginning.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes, I started a list.
it's, I'd like to get the whole name in there, just so
Okay.
I'm not guessing or anybody else's.
All right.
That's all right, Mr. Kelly. I had to ask what the name of it
Well, we've had a couple before the same way that have had that. I think the last one, like the trails for the bike ride.
Yes, yes. It is definitely acronyms. It's the new wave.
Oh, no, we
you
are,
know?
yeah, absolutely. It keeps everything simple, but I mean,
Yeah.
I think for the benefit of us in the town, if we can get the whole thing in there as what it actually is, that'd be great.
Okay. So are you all set?
Yeah, I'm
with
good.
this?
Yeah,
You've got it written to memory?
for now.
Okay. So the board moves to approve on behalf of the Veteran Services a $7,000 donation from MCRCO and a $200 donation from Mr. and Mrs. Edward Dwyer. The donations will be used to provide assistance for health and welfare, morale, and/or the financial need of our veterans and their dependents. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to accept on behalf of Veteran Services the $7,000 and $200 donation.
Excellent. We also have number 10, which is a discussion and vote on request for permission to accept donation for Ventress Library. Number 10. So Cindy Marcoux was pleased with this, and the Friends of the Ventress Library donated $5,000 to be deposited into the library's gift account. The funds will be used to supplement the library's materials budget, and also asked to please put this donation on the next select board meeting. That was through Cindy. Any questions or comments?
Thank you.
None.
Questions or comments? Okay, I'll make a motion. The board moves to approve on behalf of the Ventress Memorial Library a donation in the amount of $5,000 from the Friends of Ventress Memorial Library to be deposited into the library's gift account. The funds are to be used to supplement the library's materials budget. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to accept on behalf of the Ventress Memorial Library a $5,000 donation from the Friends of the Ventress
And
Library.
that is an excellent donation. We appreciate that. Okay, and the time is 6:09. We are going to keep going. Okay, let's move to number 11. This is a discussion vote on request for permission to accept four donations, and this is through animal control. So we have animal controllers requesting permission to accept the following four donations: $100 by Cynthia Cowing, $50 by Faith Elliott, $890.10 by Ashley Brentano with the Girls on the Run organization, and $100 made by Daniel McCarthy. Questions or comments?
Thank you.
Questions or comments?
I guess we should all say
Thank you.
a thank you to everybody for
Yes.
it. Let's say it.
Yes, yes. Okay. So yes, we appreciate, this is, every meeting we have, there is an overwhelming amount of charitable donations to so many things here in Marshfield.
Without a doubt.
So, goes unsaid. The board moves to approve on behalf of the Marshfield Animal Shelter the following donations: $100 from Cynthia Cowing, $50 from Faith Elliott, $890.10 from Ashley Brentano with Girls on the Run organization, and $100 from Daniel McCarthy. The funds are to be deposited into the department's donation account and will go directly towards the care of the animals housed at the Marshfield Animal Shelter, cared for by the Marshfield Animal Control Officers. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to accept these donations on behalf of the Marshfield Animal Shelter.
Excellent. I'm going to go down to 12. The time is 6:11. This is a discussion and vote on application for temporary liquor license, North River Art Society. For that. Okay, this is a temporary liquor license application. Maureen Smith is the applicant, North River Arts Society. And this is for Thursday, December 12th, 2024, with a time of 6 to 8 p.m. And the location is at 157 Old Main Street, Marshfield Hills. And this is the opening of the Marshfield High School art exhibit. Wine and malt beverages only. They have liquor liability insurance, naming Town of Marshfield as a requirement, copy of tips, and the event will be indoors. Police have no issues. Excuse me. Certification. Town of Marshfield is their certificate holder on their certificate of liability. North River Arts Society. Okay, anything you'd like to add to this, Michael?
Just a standard thing, the North River Art Society's been before us a number of times each year. They have all these different exhibits, whether it's their holiday festival, it's Memorial Day weekend, or it's jury art, or special events like this, or their Christmas exhibits, things like that. So they come before us periodically. We've never had any issues, and we see that the police have approved that, and they only have tip-certified people pouring.
Okay. So, any questions or comments?
Well, thank you.
Any questions or comments?
Is this at a private residence?
No, it's at the North River Art Society,
Okay, so it's gonna be inside the building?
inside the building, yes.
Okay, all right, I'm good.
Okay. Then I'm going to ask for a motion. The board moves to approve a temporary indoor wine and malt beverage license for Maureen Smith of the North River Arts Society for December 12th, 2024, from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Gar Hall located at 157 Old Main Street, Marshfield Hills, for the opening of the Marshfield High School art exhibit. Pending sign-off from the MPD, MFD, a copy of the liquor liability insurance naming the town of Marshfield as additionally insured, and a copy of tip certification for all servers. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
All right,
Unanimous vote to approve a temporary indoor wine and malt beverage license, North River Art Society for December 12th.
Okay, just to recap, folks, what we just did, we have current on our action items, we have 15 action items, and we just did items number 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So for the rest of our evening, this evening, under action items, we have action item number 1, action item number 2, and action item number 3. With that being said, I'd like to grab my other binder, and the time is 6:15.
8 looks quick.
8. Oh, Jeff Coleman, okay. Okay, so let's go to number 8. No rush on any of these, of course, so take your time with it, but this is discussion and vote on application for film production application, which is through HMPG BHF LLC, which is the name of their company. And I will go through our packet. So the production title for this is Extraordinary World with Jeff Corwin. So, and this is identified as a miscellaneous production. The company's name, as I said, HMPG BHF LLC. The name of the location manager is Lily Crossett. And the producer is Sarah Arnoff. The location is open. And the address will be at the Marshfield Municipal Airport at 93 Old Colony Lane here in Marshfield. The filming dates and times: December 6th or December 7th, 2024, with an approximation of 3 hours within the time frame of 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. December 6th is the plan date, December 7th is the backup date. Cast, crew, and vehicles, we have identified as 1. Condors, aerial work, nope. Cast is 1, crew is 1. The location type will be in the parking lot of the Marshfield Municipal Airport. Posting parking closures, they're posting no parking signs. Please indicate which side of the street. These are part of our procedural things. That's okay. Police Department has no issues with this request. Fire has no issues. And that is it for my packet. Any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Okay. Eric, any questions or comments?
Yeah, just, does anybody know what the description of this, what this show or whatever it's supposed to be?
So,
I think I get the gist of the title, but do we know what the background of the story is by chance?
no.
No? Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. If you want to ask that later, we can find that out for you.
Maybe I'll just email the person.
There you go. Okay. The board moves to approve a film production permit for Extraordinary World with Jeff Corwin for HMPG BHF LLC of Charlotte, North Carolina, for the production at the Marshfield Municipal Airport, 93 Old Colony Lane, Marshfield, Mass., for December 6th or December 7th, 2024, approximately 3 hours between 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. with 1 cast member and 1 crew member, with a base camp located at the Marshfield Municipal Parking Lot, pending sign-off from Shoreline Aviation, MPD, and MFD. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the film production permit for Extraordinary World with Jeff Corwin.
Excellent. Thank you. The time is 6:20. Could you please announce to Danielle that our next candidate is ready?
Keep you guessing.
Welcome.
How you doing?
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Madam Chair, if I may, I just
Sure.
wanted to mention for the record that we had the candidates separated so no one could hear one another.
So as I said to the previous candidate, I'd like to just reach out and say thank you for going through this process with us. We appreciate you participating and being part of this process. I know it's a lot, and your merit is impeccable as well, and we, as a board and as a town, appreciate you being here today. So with that being said, would you please introduce yourself for the record and tell us why you're here?
Sure. I'd like to thank you, all of you as well, for the consideration and the, it's an honor to be up here in front of everybody and just to be considered, so. My name's Mike LaSalva. I am a lifelong, I was born and raised here in Marshfield, and I've been on the Marshfield Fire Department for 24 years. I'm married to my wife Shelley, 19 years this year. We have 2 daughters, and I'm a graduate of Curry College, I have a bachelor's degree in communications. I'm a veteran of the United States Coast Guard and Coast Guard Reserve. And I'm proud to say that I'm from Marshfield. This will always be home, and I've been blessed with the opportunity to be a part of this organization for as long as I have. It's been a very rewarding career up thus far, and I really am very appreciative of the opportunity I have here tonight to sit in front of you and tell you why I think I'm the guy for the job.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. So the process is each of us will ask you a series of questions, and you can respond to those, and then we'll finish up with some of perhaps any additional questions you have that you felt that you needed to add, and then closing remarks.
Sure.
For you.
Sounds good.
So Mr. Kelly is going to start off and ask you some questions, and then Steve, and then myself.
All right, very good.
Okay.
Hello, Mike, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
I wish you well.
Thank you.
Do you agree with everything stated in the draft description of the position?
The job description?
I guess it says it's draft description, so.
Pretty much. I don't have it memorized, but I can, from what I do know about the job description and having been in the acting position for about the last 6 months, I agree with it.
Do you have any questions with what was presented in the draft description of the position?
No, none that I can think of.
Do you believe the draft description is in line with Chapter 48, Section 42?
I don't know that law off the top of my head, but if you wanted to ask me, I could probably tell you.
It's the law in regards to being a strong fire chief.
Yes, I would say yes.
On page 3, number 8, I'll read you the line. Oversees the development and implementation of employee training programs and ensures professional ratings of the department and employees, including emergency medical services. Can you explain what professional ratings means?
Professional ratings would be your credentials. Professional ratings as a paramedic or an EMT, firefighter, lieutenant, captain, deputy chief, chief. That sounds like what that would pertain to.
So it's based on the individual? Is that what I'm hearing?
It's based on an individual, but it's based on standards in the profession.
So within the department itself, you're talking about, is the department as a whole?
I would say yes. If people are going to go by those standards, yes.
On page 4, under abilities,
Is there any way I can get a copy of it? I have it in front of me.
Did you hand me other?
Yeah,
Just a
I left
second. It has my notes on it, so I don't want to give you those, but I want to
I
make
got a
sure.
clean copy right there.
Thank you. What was the reference again?
okay. On page 4, under abilities. Let me know when you're ready.
Yep.
Ability to supervise subordinates in a positive and effective manner and to delegate authority efficiently. Do you believe you'd be able to maintain, excuse me, I did it again. Do you believe you can supervise subordinates in a positive manner all the time?
I do.
On page 4, under abilities, ability to establish and maintain harmonious and productive working relationships with the town, state, and federal officials, fire service officials, and the general public. Do you believe you'd be able to maintain a harmonious relationship at all times in the position of fire chief? Do you believe this kind of language would constrain your ability to be a good fire chief if there was ever a time you felt a critical need for something and not being able to acquire and/or address a pressing matter?
I believe I can do all of that. Absolutely. And if there was any issue or I felt like it was going to be an issue, I'd do what I could to follow this to the best I could. Absolutely. I think I have great skills in those fields.
On page 5, under motor skills, it reads, duties may involve a high degree of intense mental concentration together with hand-eye coordination and visual attention for long periods of time in performing activities such as having to operate an emergency vehicle at high rates of speed and often during adverse weather and troublesome road conditions in response to emergencies. Would you operate an emergency vehicle at a high rate of speed during adverse weather and or troublesome road conditions?
Not if it was going to put someone else's safety or my safety at risk, no.
Where do you reside, and do you plan on moving further closer to the town of Marshfield? If so, when?
Well, I reside in East Harwich, Massachusetts, where I've lived for the last almost 10 years. Before that, I lived in Sandwich for 10 years. So I've been on Cape Cod for a total of 20. I would be compliant with whatever the rules were for being here, but as far as moving, my family's not going to move here.
Trying to stay within parameters of the questions in regards to the last candidate, but I mean, I guess there's got to be some kind of exceptions to asking questions, right, in regards to the responses you get?
I would say the answer is no.
You can ask whatever questions you like. I think the goal is to try to keep the interviews.
Just a second. Can you identify yourself for the record and go to the microphone, please? Thank you.
John Clifford, Labor Council. You want to repeat the question, Mr. Kelly? I'm happy to answer it.
My question was, I'm trying to stay within the parameters of what was asked of the last candidate, but, the whole thing is that you get different answers, so I imagine, am I allowed to be more, ask other questions, maybe because of the other candidates' answers weren't as questionable, I guess you could say.
I think the goal for any interview process like this would be to generally keep the structure of the interviews consistent, but certainly any board member can ask follow-up questions based on the answers given by the candidates.
I appreciate that, Attorney Clifford. All right, so you say your family's will not up and move up this way, and I guess that's your family. What are you gonna do?
What do? I'll do what I've done for the last 20 years. I'll be here. It's never been an issue. I have plenty of places I can stay here. I'm here probably 85 to 90% of the time. I'll just give you a most recent example. During this past fall, over the last 6 to 7, 8 weeks, I was up here 90% of the time, staying up here because of the increased fire weather. I'm here for storms, for planned events, and just if I need a place to stay, I just stay. There's no problem for me to do that. My family understands, and they support me in pretty much whatever I do. And that's that. All I can tell you, Mr. Kelly, is if you want to focus on the distance is the distance. It's not going to change. If you want to talk about the dedication, I'm dedicated. I have been for 24 years. Never wavered. I've always been where I have to be when I have to be there. And I'll do what it takes to get there. And that's the best way I can answer that.
I appreciate your response to that. The whole thing is that, though it's nice to have, I imagine, family here where you can hunker down when the time comes to and all that, and you do know that there are citizens in this town that are concerned about.
I understand that, and I understand their concerns, 100%. Like I said, all I can tell you is the distance is the distance, the dedication is the dedication. It's never been anything but. And I don't know how many other questions you're going to ask me about it, but that's the only way I can come at it. And I understand if that's a sticking point, to not take over as the chief here, my family comes first. And that's the most honest and just answer I can give you.
No, that's fine. No, I respect that and everything. You know, I think a lot of people would respect that sentiment and all that and everything. And
Well, I'd like the opportunity to prove to them that that's exactly what
I
I'm
get,
about.
no, I get that. You know, the whole thing is that being able to, I look at it as that it's great to have the options that you have places to stay in town. It's just that I guess and I guess many others would probably look at that it's not where you reside. It's not where you live. I guess would be the major factor in it. Moving on. Do you have certificates and/or other paperwork to help support your resume?
I don't have them with me, but I do have them. I have my degrees, I have my credentials, I have any other type of documentation that, for what I have on my resume.
My next question was, if so, why are they not part of the documents that you have submitted?
I don't remember that being a requirement, but I can easily produce them.
Why did you choose a career as a firefighter?
I guess I wanted to get into something that was something above me, something that was meaningful for the greater good. And it's been, like I said, it's been very rewarding. I wouldn't change anything over the past 24 years. And, you know, there's some people in the room tonight here that I started out with, and they mean the world to me. And that's really why I got into it. I love being part of a team. I love pushing forward on a common goal, a mission to get things accomplished. And I think there's something to be said when you may go into someone's home and it's the first time they've ever seen you or met you, and it's their worst day, and you have an opportunity right there to help them out. So maybe it was the worst situation in their life. Maybe in that dark time, they may remember some small ray of light. You could be that, and that's really why this career is so rewarding, and that's, I think, why I got into it.
Is that it?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay. Why do you feel you are qualified to take on this position in your career?
Well, I feel as though it's the next natural progression in my career. I've worked from the ground up. If I was hired as the chief here, I'd be the first chief to hold the advanced life support rating, meaning that I've done this job from the ground up. I've actually treated patients in the back of an ambulance. And that goes a long way in the administrative side of running things, to know how hands-on and like boots on the ground work. And I always just want to push forward. I feel as though I could be the leader here and be an effective leader. I feel like I have a good command presence. All at the same time, I'm empathetic. Like I said, I did it from the ground up. And I know what people in this field, in this profession, are going through. And they come to me with a problem or a concern. I've been there and done it. And I hang my hat on that. I'm proud to say that. And that's, in a nutshell, that's why I believe I'd be the best person for this job.
That-
Yes.
Why do you want to leave your current position? So I guess I would have to reflect back as you being a deputy versus.
There's no reason I'd want to leave it. Like I said, it's the natural progression forward, and that chapter, I feel like I've been as effective as I can at that level. I feel like I could be more effective as at the helm, really. And I love being the deputy chief. It's great. I learned an immense amount over the past 4 years that I've been in the deputy chief's position. And I really don't want to leave it per se, but I do want to move ahead and progress.
And I was going through what you did submit to the select board, Acting Chief LaSava, and you do have some educational background, so is there any other educational degrees you would like to acquire?
I would. Currently, I'm enrolled in a Fire Prevention Officer 2 course through the Mass Fire Academy, which will be ending in the middle of this month, so that'll be another credential that I'll obtain. But I would like to move forward with, like I think the last time I talked to you about this was the Executive Fire Officer Program through the National Fire Academy in Emmitsburg, Maryland. That's something that's a goal I'd like to attain to. And yeah, I always try and keep current with classes through the Department of Fire Services, and anything I can get into my background for that would be good. I do have a bachelor's degree. At this point, with the way life's a little hectic, but I would like to pursue someday a master's degree and obtain that.
We all know about hecticness these days.
Yeah.
And I was going through it, you seem to have a more of a background in regards to, you're with the Coast Guard, so in boating, I guess you could say.
I'm a licensed captain.
Oh, yeah. How come you didn't stay with that career? Like,
I met my wife, and that was pretty much it.
not meaning like Coast Guard itself, but like, harbor master or.
In the marine industry?
Yeah.
Or the maritime field?
I guess I'm going to look at it.
I became an EMT, and I started working in the private ambulance field, and I was kind of drawn to that, and again, I wanted to progress. The next progression was to become a paramedic, which is the next level up. It's the highest level you can go in that field, and I just really loved it, and I always knew I'd stay around boating and kind of the maritime field, which I do. So when I have time, I do charters in the summer. But that's those skills and those abilities, when you're out on a boat by yourself or you're responsible for 15, 16 people on your boat, you're it. So a lot of those are foundational things that I learned coming up, and I still adhere to those today. You're it. Captain goes down with the ship. So.
All right. I appreciate it, Acting Chief LaSava, for your time and your answers and your thoughtfulness towards them. And I really wish.
Okay.
Thank you for your
Before
questions.
we
Appreciate
go,
it.
I'd like to just ask you on in light of a couple of the questions that my select board member, Eric Kelly, asked, I'd just like to ask you in regards to the residency. You did say that you would do anything that was necessary. So then the question was, went on, and you said that you would, your family comes first. I applaud you for saying that here today. But I'd also like to ask you if the law is, and I have it, so we have Chapter 41, Section 99A, if you would be willing to meet that requirement to take this job.
I would.
Okay. That's the question that we all want to know. Would you be willing to meet that requirement? And perhaps because not everybody knows what I'm talking about, I'm going to ask our Labor Council to go to the podium again and explain to the record what that means for everybody.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes.
The question regards the legal residency status.
Yes.
There are two statutes, one that applies to civil service employees and one that applies to non-civil service employees. This particular statute, Chapter 41, Section 99A, I believe, would apply to the fire chief in Marshfield, which is a non-civil service position, and that is a 15-mile residency limit from the address to the nearest border point of Marshfield. Residency can be established in a number of ways, but that's what the statute requires.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So your answer was you would be willing to meet the legal requirements for that, okay? With that being said, would you like to follow up on what, just, again,
I guess, I understand. I
Okay.
see where this is, I can see where you're driving at here, I think.
yeah, well, I'm not driving at anything. I'm trying to get to the crutch of the comment and where we are as a community. And I need to know that we have chiefs that go on vacation, right? We have chiefs that have appointments. We have chiefs that go and check out where their kids are going to college. But we also have the plans in place so that when that happens, care of the chief, the things don't stop and we're able to, safety paramount. We're in a seaside community, houses are close. We've got so many things that you need to be worried about, and we as a community, I live here, my family, we all live here. So we need to know that that is taken care of, and I know that your house is your firehouse. But our house, we sit here, is the 26,000 residents, 40-something in the summer. We need to know that, so that's the reason for the follow-up question. So that's me in a nutshell for that point.
Okay.
I appreciate your response, and I appreciate town council, labor council for helping me with that. Go ahead, Steve.
Sure. What are your thoughts on professional development for both yourself and your department? And are there any workshops or sessions that you found to be particularly helpful?
Sure, so as far as for myself, like I said, I always want to keep moving forward, seeing what's next. Get a gauge on which direction to take or which path to take based on needs and things like that. As far as the department goes, I think education, training are paramount. What I would tell anyone if they ask me, if you're going to make a career, make the most of it. Never stop. It doesn't matter if you're at the ground level or you make it all the way to the top. Just keep pushing forward. And there are some, like I said, I'm enrolled in a class right now through the Mass Fire Academy that's it's a little dry. It's mostly about code, but it's eye-opening. So I always try and use that, the Mass Fire Academy, through their learning management system. They offer a wide variety of courses and classes, and I always try and set a goal, maybe once every 2 months, try and take a class. Some of them at the chief level probably aren't that necessary, but it's a good refresher on something you might have learned before and kind of forgot, so I find that helpful.
Thank you. This one's a little bit longer, but maintaining high levels of morale, motivation, and wellness in a municipal fire department can be very challenging. What strengths do you possess which will help in building a strong department with high morals, motivation, and overall well-being? And give us an example from your own experiences.
Well, I think it starts with you yourself, and you need to set the bar. And like I said, morale is, sometimes it's there, sometimes it isn't. It's really, there's a lot of variables that go into it, but I think that, morale is based on rewards. So you want to try and give it praise publicly when you can. You want to make sure that everybody has what they need. They have, if you can, have it be top of the line. People want to buy in, and I think that's how you foster morale, is to have them feel like they're a stakeholder. And I'm sorry, I forgot the other part of your question.
No, you're good. If you had one, if you wanted to give a particular example.
Oh, okay. Sure. When I was on shift, as I related as like when I was a shift captain, we always would like work out together, and that was always like a great way to bond. And everybody always kind of forgot about their differences with each other. It was like being on a team, and things of that nature, like team building and things of that nature. I'm a big proponent of, and I try and do that. Even if I just walk out and there's a few people I haven't seen in a while, just talking to them like we were when we were all wearing blue shirts and going out on calls, and I think that goes a long way. So just the basics.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. During your time as the interim chief for Marshfield, are you the only person in your department who knows how to fight a fire?
No. We have a top-notch department here, from top to bottom, bottom to top. I have so much admiration and faith in the men and women of this department. That doesn't mean sometimes people don't need guidance, but for the most part, as a whole, no. I used to think I was the only one, but no, absolutely not. We have a great group of people, and they're very capable, and they love their jobs.
During your time as the interim chief, is there a technology you use to communicate with your team when you're not face-to-face?
Well, I don't know sign language, but yeah, we have radios, phones. I mean, almost 2025, so ways to communicate are pretty mind-blowing in some cases. But yeah, we do. We have the technology, so to speak. Yes.
And could you expand upon how the incident command system works in the fire system, and what kind of training is done, if any, for the command staff, and how to respond and be in charge for major incidents?
Sure. So the incident command system, the way it's laid out, mostly in the fire service is where it was born. So the fire service is very good at incident command as a whole. And it's built so that the lowest ranking person could pull up to a major incident and run that incident until somebody senior or somebody with more authority could show up and take over. And we do that on a day-to-day basis. You see the ambulances and the fire trucks going to calls, maybe a medical call. Well, the ambulance is going there with 2, maybe 3 people, and then if the fire engine from Brant Rock, they meet there, well, that's 4 to 5 people. And, there's usually a supervisor, it's a span of control, and that's actually a smaller example of the incident command system. You can go from that to, we don't have any high rises, but something to that nature where you can expand it out to as big as you need it, and you can break it down to as small as you need it. It's very effective.
And what, if any, value does that provide for future leaders in the department?
It would, the value is that you gain confidence. You gain confidence in making decisions and knowing that you may not make the right decision, but you make a decision and it's made. And if it's not the right one, you learn from it. If it is the right one, you learn from it. And it's like giving people autonomy to say, I can do this. I can make decisions. So it's valuable in that regard. Sometimes it's daunting, but like I said, you gain confidence by doing it.
Thank you. Has your home address ever prevented you from carrying out your responsibilities?
Never. Nope.
And this is my last question, and you've touched on this before, but could you talk about your ties to Marshfield and the community here, and what it would mean to you to be fire chief?
Absolutely. Like I said, I was born and raised here. I was a 1991 graduate of Marshfield High School. My mother still lives here in the house I grew up in. I have other family, friends, and relatives that live in Marshfield. And like I said, it doesn't matter where I live. I've been a lot of places. I've met a lot of people, but this was always home, and it always will be. I'm proud to say I'm from here, and I'm proud that I grew up here. I grew up here doing all the things you'd think from growing up in a coastal community: boating, fishing, beaches, fires on the beach, when you could do that. And like I said, the best way I could answer that is this will always be home. I love nothing more when my kids come up here and I show them that's where I went to school, there's where we used to hang out, this used to be here, I'll never get away from here.
Thank you.
Thank you for those responses. Before I get into my two questions, I did the same thing for the other candidate, I just wanted to share with you for a minute how important this has been and impactful to me in this role as select board. And I have been, the last several months have really shown me what this town can be and where I think that this town will be. And I appreciate you being here. And as I said to the previous, this is probably the most important thing that I'm telling you that I have felt emotionally connected to. So getting to this point today on December 2nd is really an emotional part of who I am and why I chose to be a select board member. And but enough of me. I just want to give you the background as I did to the previous candidate and applaud you for being here no matter what happens. We appreciate you as deputy chief and then again as acting chief in the interim. So thank you for that. So my first question is, it is March 2025 and you are informed by the town administrator and finance director that your overtime budget for the year is almost completely spent. With more than 3 months remaining in the fiscal year, what should you do to address this issue?
Well, first, I would hope that the town administrator wouldn't be coming to me with this. If I forecasted that, I would let him or her know and say, here's where we're at, and these are some solutions, and work together as a team to figure out what the steps are moving forward. Outside of that, there really wouldn't be too much other than figuring out together what do we want to do to remedy this. And I think that's really all at that point, really all you could do. But like I said, I think that question, the crux of that is the timing. if you're that far in and you're just letting someone at that point know, then you probably knew about it long before that. And that's when the time would have been to come forward.
Is that it?
Mhm.
Thank you. The second question I have is, you receive a call at 11:30 PM on a Friday night from the captain in charge of the shift. He tells you that he suspects one of the firefighters on duty is intoxicated. What should you do?
Okay, so I think the first thing I would ask the captain would be, did you call the deputy that's on call? And I have every amount of faith in our shift supervisors that that's what they had already done before they called me. I would tell them immediately, if the on-call deputy hadn't already told them, don't let them leave. If you can, find someone else in the meantime to come sit with you and witness what you're talking about. And I would be on my way. I'm sure that whoever the on-call deputy would be there, and what they should do, or if it was me, is make sure that there's, like I said, there's other witnesses, so that there's reasonable assumption that this person is intoxicated or impaired somehow. And everybody involved, we need to get statements, get all the facts together. And from that point, they would be relieved of duty. And my job at that point would be to contact the Labor Council and seek guidance from them on how to proceed with the situation, having all the facts to present. And see what their recommendations are, and again, work together with them on how to proceed.
Thank you for that. So that kind of concludes our questions. Do you have anything you want to reiterate in the questions that all three of us asked, that you'd like a follow-up and a chance to say something else? And then I'd like your closings.
Sure. I just would like to reiterate, Mr. Kelly asked why do I think I'm the best person for this job, and I don't think I can answer it any better than I already did, but I'd like to reiterate that I've been preparing for this interview for 24 years, and that's what I bring to the table. I don't know anything other than Marshfield Fire and the fire service, and that doesn't mean I'm not open to the way other people do things, but it's what I know, and this is the only place I really want to be. So I'd like to reiterate that.
Is there any closing remarks that you'd like to add?
I'd like to again thank the board, town administrator, and everyone for the opportunity to be here. I'd like to thank the men and women of the Marshfield Fire Department, my friends that are here tonight with me, and again, I'm very grateful and humbled to be sitting here in front of you for this opportunity.
Okay. Thank you so much for being here and putting your name in the hat. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So,
Did I just show myself out? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
no problem.
Thank you.
Okay. So as our board knows, this process has been going on for quite some time, and I appreciate the the committee, the search committee that was established by this board to go through the process of getting us to these two candidates. So I think that the search committee had unanimously put these two candidates in front of us for this interview process. I appreciate both of the perspectives of both of our candidates here this evening, and I'd like to ask Mr. Kelly if he would be interested in making a motion, and then we would have a deliberation
Motion on what?
on fire chief.
Oh, in regards to,
Yes.
I mean, so, I mean, I guess, what would the motion be? How would I motion this?
Well,
Mike.
how do you feel? I mean, you would,
There's in front of you, I have sort of a template in the motion. You just got to plug in the name.
Okay, under action items,
Yes, number one.
the board moves to appoint Mark Gassararo, Fire Chief for the town of Marshfield, pending the completion of the background checks and successful negotiation of the contract by the town administrator and town council.
Okay, is there a second to that motion? No second, okay.
So am I asking, is there a second to that motion?
Yes.
Is there a second to that motion?
nay.
All right, so what do we do? Go back to, start over on, you guys, Mr. Acting Chief LaSalma? Or what are we doing here?
But if
Or
that's-
do we,
Would you like
Would
me
you
to
take a vote?
over?
Yeah,
Would you like-
yeah, I don't know why I'm doing it in the first place. This is,
Okay, well, you had a lot of questions and comments, and you've been very vocal on it, so I just thought that might give you an opportunity to have that. That was the reasoning for it, so. But I will take, so we're now into the action items. This is the board moves to appoint, and then we fill in the blank. So it is my pleasure to appoint our acting chief, Michael Asalva, for fire chief for the town of Marshfield, pending the completion of the background checks and successful negotiation of the contract by the town administrator and town council. Do I have a second?
Second.
motion been made and duly second. A roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
you know, one thing I was thinking about is that we haven't had a discussion on
Well,
this.
this will give us an opportunity to have that discussion.
Should we have that first?
We'll have a second, and then we'll deliberate.
So is this
We
for a
will
vote to deliberate?
Yes.
All right, so we're not voting on the person, we're voting on
Yes.
the deliberation. So I will second the motion on
Okay.
deliberation.
Thank you. So the deliberation on Michael Asalva, I will let you start if you'd like to do so.
Sure. Well, I'd say that the screening committee did a good job forwarding two really qualified candidates for us. And that took a lot, I know from experience, that takes many hours to do, so definitely appreciate everyone who put the time in and volunteered to do that. I thought they both, on difficult questions, had good answers and good responses, which I think shows that, you know, they can think on their feet, they're sharp people, and, you know, that'd be a good quality to have in a chief. You know, we've also had the benefit of seeing Michael as the interim chief, and we've seen him, you know, address problems head on. He's not afraid to address them or, you know, sweep them under the rug or hide them. And I've just seen Mike over the years, and I know that he's not afraid to stand up for what he thinks is right and speak the truth when he knows that there'll be negative consequences. So, you know, we talked about leadership a lot, and, you know, I think that's definitely a strong point that I've seen firsthand from Mike. And I'm sure the deputy chief in Pembroke, Mark, would, I don't know him as well, but he seems like a really well-qualified person as well and had, a fantastic resume. But the tiebreaker for me is just seeing Mike in person and how he's done with the job on an interim basis. And I think the tiebreaker for me too is that when you have the right candidate, it's really good for morale in the department because then other folks can move up. So you can have folks slide up into deputy or captain or lieutenant, and it's good for the whole department. So again, I think they're both great candidates. I've seen how Mike has done with the job so far, and I think he's got great leadership skills to be a great chief for Marshfield, and I think it's good for the department as well.
Okay, thank you. Anything you'd like to add?
I'd like to thank both applicants for coming in tonight. When I started looking at this whole process, it's my understanding that there were 4 applicants for it. And 2 of them, I guess, the panel did not feel that they met requirements or whatever. So I'd like to ask what happened with those other 2 other candidates that didn't meet the cut.
John Clifford, Labor Council. When people apply at the screening stage, it's confidential until such time as they become finalists. I don't want to do anything to violate the confidentiality of those candidates that were not selected to move forward. But one of the things that the screening committee carefully considered was, do these candidates come from departments that are similar to Marshfield? Not every fire department runs a full emergency medical service, advanced life support like we do here in Marshfield. And some of the candidates didn't have that type of specific experience. So those were really important criteria, that they had to come from a department that had full advanced life support paramedic level service, and the chief had to be responsible for running both aspects, the fire and the emergency medical. So that was really the main reason that we chose to really lock in on those qualifications. But there was no incentive or reason for us to exclude otherwise qualified candidates.
In regards to the draft description of the job that was presented to us, who was in charge of putting that together?
HR puts that together.
And how was it advertised?
It was advertised on our website. It was advertised in the media and in any professional journal that chiefs get.
I believe it was also sent out to the State Fire Chiefs Association and the Regional Fire Chiefs Association.
So if they send it out, do they disseminate it out to the rest of the fire departments?
To their members,
The chief's members?
correct.
So it doesn't necessarily mean the deputies or whoever are getting that information as well, is what you're saying, right?
Again, we can ask the HR director to talk about specifically, but it was advertised very broadly to me
Okay.
to make sure that we got any candidates that met the qualifications.
What was the, let me see here. Oh, no, those executive minutes that were part of this that were not voted and approved. And probably important that I was able to see to get a better understanding of the interviews and all that. That was another concern of mine, just to let you know. And I guess there was other material out there that I have just received today that probably would have been helpful in this whole process in regards to it. So my concerns are is that there was material that from this whole interview process that probably should have we should have had in our folders or some sort of thing that would give us more information. Outside of that, in regards to the 2 candidates that we're discussing about, I thank them both. You know, Mark,
Gassasaro.
thank you, Gassasaro. He seemed to be a nice, good candidate and everything like that, and very interested in the position. And we definitely know that Acting Chief LaSalva is interested in the position. It's unfortunate that we didn't have more people to apply for the job that would have met the committee's criteria, I guess you could look at. The only thing is that, in regards to Acting Chief LaSalva, you know, I like him. I think we've had some communication issues in the past and all that and everything, but in my opinion, I don't think he's ready, in my opinion, to be chief. I mean, if there was a assistant fire chief position, I'd certainly be willing to entertain that for Acting Chief LaSalva. His residency is a deep concern for me, and that's just not standing that as him as being acting chief as well. There was language in the union contract that seemed to be impacting a lot of this, in my opinion. And then as well as some of his answers to my questions, though nobody's perfect, you know, kind of got my attention. You know, in regards to Mark Gisaro, when I asked those questions, he seemed to not really have a good responses to all of them. In regards to Acting Chief LaSalva, he seemed to be more descriptive maybe or in his thing. So it's I have concerns in regards to both candidates. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I am going to share a few of my thoughts in regards to who we're talking about right now, and that is to appoint Michael LaSalva. And I will ask you, I don't think there's any further questions for Labor Council. If you'd like to stand there, you can, but I appreciate it. The important part of what we have here today is to make our fire department whole. And we can't make it whole without somebody in charge. So we are in a situation where we can hire from within, or we can hire from another community. That's a choice. We also have the choice of whether or not we can move forward as a fire department and take every single thing that we have coming at us and do what we can to support not only your fire chief, but also to support one another. And I'm convinced that Chief LaSalva will work really hard to make that a reality for the team in your fire stations. And I am confident, based on the time that I've had in communicating with Michael LaSalva, our acting chief, that he is willing and capable to do that and will put his career on the line. 24 years. He knows the geography of Marshfield. He knows our nooks and crannies. He knows who lives on the corner of this street and that street. And I honestly, wholeheartedly think that this is the best move for the fire department as a whole to move forward. And the deputy chiefs that we have sitting in this room today, the fact that you're here with others in the audience, and I'm sure they're online as well. And I know there's people that are disappointed the way things happen, but I honestly applaud you for going through this period of time, and I know bright things are in your future, and we'll work with our surrounding communities as we did at the last fire on Sheridan. So thank you for listening to me speak, and I could go on and on about different responses to different things, but I'm ready to make a decision.
Thanks.
So on that, we have a second, and I will move after deliberation to make this a reality. So the board moves to appoint Michael LaSalva, Fire Chief for the town of Marshfield, pending the completion of the background checks and successful negotiation of the contract by the town administrator and town council. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly second. A roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye. Mr.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Michael LaSalva was appointed fire chief by a vote of 2-1.
Okay, thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. And the time is 7:18. So we are going to go into our appointments for, we're going to go to Anne Marie Sinnott, Assessor's Classification Hearing, which was scheduled for 7 PM, and I'm a little late, but here we are.
What time is it actually?
7:20. Not too bad. So you've provided a PowerPoint, which I spent some time looking at today, and I'm thrilled to have you explain it all to us. And thank you for being here. Identify yourself for the record.
Hi, I'm Anne Marie Sinnott. I'm the principal assessor, and I have Erica here. She's our new board member, and she wanted to participate today. So every year, the select board of cities and towns that are certified by the commissioner as assessing property at full and fair cash value may elect to shift the tax burden among the major property classes within certain limits established by MGL Chapter 50, Section 56. The board must vote whether to establish different rates among classes of a property or continue to tax all classes at the same rate by adopting a factor of 1. The adoption of different rates does not change the total property tax levy, rather it determines the share of the total levy to be carried by each class. So what we are looking for the select board to do today is to take 4 votes: tax rate shift, open space, residential exemption, and small business exemption. How is the tax rate set? People might want to know how that is. When the budget to operate the town is finalized by the town meeting, all receipts, actual and estimated, except for real estate and personal property taxes, are subtracted. In fiscal year 2025, the final budget is $141,351,399. The numbers that I got is from the tax rate recap that we're working on now to submit. And the receipts total $58,004,166, leaving $83,347,233 to be raised by real and personal property taxes. Taxable valuation for fiscal year 2025 is $8,418,912,482. And then you take that, divided the taxable value into the monies to be raised for the real estate and personal property taxes, making a single rate of $9.90 per thousand of the value. So Marshfield's always been a residential community. So for fiscal year 2025, the residential class valuation was 93.75% of the total taxable valuation. And the commercial, industrial, and personal property total was 6.25%. With a single tax rate, each class raises the proportional share of the amount of money to raise, known as the levy. That means for fiscal year '25, the residential class would raise 93.75% of the levy, which is $78,140,907. And the CIP classes would raise the balance. Typically, in the past, we've stayed as a single rate because you really should have like 20 to 30% commercial, industrial, personal property to really have that shift give the most benefit for the residential. So on the next slide is the shift calculated. So it just basically breaks down how you would do that. And then the next slide is basically separating out the residential class and the CIP class to show that $9.90 would be the single rate. And then the next slide, the tax rate is estimated at this time because it has not been submitted and approved yet. But this just goes to show, you know, if you were to do a 150% shift, there would be, if you take the average of the CIP class, there would be roughly, you know, $4,299 shifted on to those classes, and the residential would see just $284 in saving if you go by the average. And on the next slide, it's just some examples, shift examples of if you were to choose something of that nature, if you didn't want to go to the 150. And then the residential examples, this chart will provide different residential with assessed values and the shift effect. So you'll see that with those and with the assessed values, it's just some examples. Those are savings. The property taxes would decrease. But then if you go to the next page, the samples of different commercial industrial assessed values, the difference for those are actually taxes that will be increased on those classes. So as you can see, the shift would definitely impact the commercial industrial properties more.
Can I interrupt you there?
Yes.
You happen to be on.
Yes.
So with the residential examples and the commercial industrial.
I can't, sorry, Lynn, I can't hear you.
Oh, okay. Let's go closer.
I'm sorry about that.
That's all right.
I can hear you now.
Okay, I can hear you now. So, yes, okay. I'm going to read the legal notice before I ask you any questions.
Yes,
But I
sorry.
appreciate you starting as quickly and got right into it. So this is the Town of Marshfield legal notice, property tax classification hearing. The Select Board will hold a public hearing on Monday, December 2nd, 2024, at 7 p.m. regarding the allocation of the FY25 tax levy among the various classes of property in the town. All real estate in the town of Marshfield is classified according to use. The allocation of the tax levy may be adjusted within certain limits between the residential class and the commercial, industrial, personal property classes by the Select Board. Interested citizens are invited to participate in the discussion. So this is to the Select Board, and it was published in our Coastal Mariner on 11/27. So that is taken care of. So under the residential examples and the commercial industrial examples,
Yes.
so your recommendation is to go with a 9.9 with a simple one consistent
Yes.
rate?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Board of Assessors during their November 18th meeting, it's further down here,
Yeah, I saw that.
considering the analysis and fiscal impact, the Board of Assessors voted during their meeting November 18th to recommend to the Select Board a factor of 1. And it's because we really just don't have that commercial base.
The 20 to 30%, as you discussed.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know in previous classification hearings as well, we've always been trying to promote new businesses to come into town. So that's why we've, recommended the factor of 1.
Okay. And typically, that is historically what this board has done.
Historically, yes.
Okay. So let's go back to residential examples, and just so people understand where your assessed value, and you're basing it on 9.9 of $1,000 of value, and that's how you calculate out.
Yes.
For a, yeah, okay. And the same thing with the commercial. So what you're saying is the same exact scenario for a value of a commercial property is reflected in your recommendation.
Yes.
And also, I just want to add to that, obviously, if you own commercial property, then typically the person or the companies that are using the commercial property are leaseholders for that property.
Correct.
So you're giving the break to the actual owners of the property, not to those businesses that have.
Well,
Is that
that is.
something further along?
That's further along, so that's
Okay.
the small business exemption.
Okay.
That you're touching base on.
Okay. I'll
So
let you
you're
do your
100%
thing.
accurate on that.
I intentionally wanted to interrupt you because I realized as you started going on that I needed to
Sorry.
read in the record, but I thought that I had another question with that as well. So
Okay.
I'll let you continue your wonderful PowerPoint, and,
This is a new thing.
yes, I know,
here,
we haven't
so-
had this before, so
Yeah.
it's nice.
So
I
I'm
appreciate
open
it.
for I'll make
No,
sure I
it's
make
great.
notes of the 1,000 for,
Yeah, no, it's great. I'm thrilled with this.
So that ends the information regarding the shift. I'm open to any questions you have before I go into open space. Does anybody have any other questions or anything?
I'm good. The open space is open space of land owned by the town of Marshfield.
Correct, and for open space, we don't have anything here classified as open space for taxation purposes. I know we have the open space committee and stuff, but for taxation, there's no land use code.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Ready to go to the next, I guess?
Well,
We are-
I do have a question on the open space discount. Don't we put property in as open space almost every year?
Madam Chair, do you want me to answer that?
Sure.
Yes, we do, but it's not taxed. So what the head assessor is referring to is, in that particular open space, there is no, the land that we have, we don't
All
pay
right, so because we don't
taxes on.
tax it.
Yes.
We don't have any, we're responsible for land use codes through the Department of Revenue and DLS to classify each property, and we have nothing in that I believe it's 200s. We don't classify those. We haven't for, I don't know how many years have we used the 200 for the land use codes.
So we have open space.
That could be chapter land, that could be town-owned property, that could be, there's many other land use codes that can be used. I just don't, for taxation, we don't use that code.
I mean, just on this, looking at it, it kind of, like myself, raises, but, well, what do you mean we don't have open space? as
I know, it's a
classified
little
open space?
confusing.
Well, yeah, because all these that we, almost every town meeting. So is there another way you could term that in regards to, or?
I'll make a note to see if maybe next year I can maybe be a little bit more specific in the
Yeah.
PowerPoint. I'm more than happy to do that.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Residential exemption, this exemption is given to all property occupied, owner-occupied properties, the property being used as his or her domicile. The calculation is taking the total residential class valuation and dividing it by the number of parcels that class reflects and getting an average residential value. You, as a select board, can vote 1 to 35% of the average residential value, and that is subtracted to all qualified properties for the taxable value. There is an increase because you're shifting, and I have examples here, but this will increase the residential tax rate, and any value above that median or the average will receive a higher tax even with the exemption credit due. And I went in to give a little bit more for information and an example. If this is something that the town would be interested in doing, the assessing department would need at least a 10-month lead time because we have to determine which properties qualify for that exemption. And then there's the other thing as well, because a lot of the properties are usually, applications come in usually after the actual bills go out, so the overlay would have to be increased as well to supplement that for the first several years. The exemption information, it's the total residential levy amount, the residential value, the number of parcels, and then the average assessed value. And I just randomly picked 8,500 properties for this example of at 20%. And then if you go to the next slide, it breaks out the math. So basically what you would be doing is you would be exempting basically 1,207,858,500 from the residential value. So that's less money, less assessed value that $1,000 per taxation would be raising. So either way, the residential levy has to be met. So if you exempt X amount of money, that tax rate's going to then increase because you still have to raise that amount. It's a little confusing, that's why I tried to give out the example to hopefully explain that a little better. Not many towns have done this. I know there's been a handful maybe on the Cape that have done this, but yeah. And then on the next slide, property values and tax rate examples. That just shows that if you have, assessed values, I did from 700,000 all the way up to 3 million. It shows that if you have a higher assessed value, you're gonna actually end up paying more in your taxes because of that higher tax rate. Cautions of the residential exemption. We need at least that 10-month lead time. We would have to process the applications, determine eligibility. It's pretty lengthy. The first couple of years, like I had said before, the overlay account would need to be increased to cover that. And many applications tend to come in after the bills are issued the first years, so that's why the overlay would have to be increased. And then next, small business exemption. This, as you were stating earlier, Lynn, if you have, the board can choose percent up to 10%. To qualifying businesses, the property value would have to be $1 million and under, and they'd have to have 10 employees or less for the small business exemption. It's basically doing the same thing. It would be shifting the burden within that one class. That would be benefiting the property owner, not if the business was actually renting or leasing. And then what we've done as a town, we adopted an exemption of all personal property accounts for 10,000 and under, they don't get a bill. So that essentially helps the small business.
Before you go on.
Yes.
Question. So when was that exemption put into place, do you know?
That 10,000?
Yeah.
I believe it went from 2,000 to 10,000. It was either in fiscal 18 or 19. I know it was after I became the principal assessor, and I think, I don't know which year Michael might remember, but I think it was 19.
Yeah, I think it was either 18 or
18,
19.
19.
I don't remember exactly, so.
And that definitely, like I said, It went to town meeting, it got voted in, and it helps a lot of the small businesses in town that are running, directly helps them. And then the next page is just some more information regarding the small business exemption. It's, very difficult to track. Not many communities statewide have adopted this. It helps the property owner, not if the business is leasing. So that's that information there. I know I just threw a lot at you.
That's why I came in early today. So your Board of Assessors action plan, which you have in front of you, as you said earlier.
Yep.
I appreciate, I keep saying I appreciate you, but I do appreciate, because I was trying to do all the legwork last year with the help of Michael and understanding the assessors. He was on the board for a while and was helpful in that. And so welcome to the board.
Thank you.
I understand you must be good with numbers. I'm kidding. Yeah. The history of our tax rates are within this packet as well.
Yes.
And we had, in 2020, we had a rate of 13.33 per thousand, 21, 13.19 per thousand, 22, 12.95 per thousand, 23, 11.32, 24, 10.39, and obviously, we're not approved yet,
Correct.
but we're shooting for 9.9.
That's what it's looking like it's going to
Okay.
be now, yes.
All right.
And with that overview, as the town's value or assessed value has gone up, that tax rate has come down because we can't tax more than what the levy is. So we have to be within what the market's doing, and the real estate's been crazy since COVID. It did a complete opposite of what everybody thought it was going to do.
Right.
It just skyrocketed, so.
Well, thank you. Any questions? I think I've asked a lot.
Yeah, thank you both for coming in. And, for the 5th year in a row, your recommendations and presentation are very logical, so I don't have any questions for you.
Okay, thank you.
Eric?
Thanks for coming in, both. I did spend some time with you, Anne Marie, going through some things, and it was an interesting experience. I learned, even though there's still more to learn this and actually understand in this whole process, it did open my eyes up and give me a somewhat better perspective on it and everything.
There's a lot to it.
No, there is. It's like, how can you look at it? It's not math for the, how can you, someone that likes easy math, this gets deeper into that, between playing with the numbers and all that and everything. And that was one thing that you were showing me, if you did this, move this, all that and everything, and then things shift to other people and all that and everything. I appreciated it when I met you in tonight. It's my look at it is that I do believe that there should be a split tax rate, but the way I look at it right now, everything, it's, that would be way too expensive on the, between the business community and everything else like that. It just would, my opinion, wouldn't put a positive to Marshfield in a whole, but my opinion, looking at everything and talking to people, it's, I do believe that instead of trying to shift tax burdens, all, they probably should be looking at Prop 2.5 and adjusting that maybe on a downward way, and see where we get with that. But other than that, I appreciate the time and everything you've given.
Pretty much everything that I provided in the PowerPoint, I've given just in a different form the previous years. And then after meeting with Eric, I did some examples just to make it a little bit more
Right.
clearer, I guess.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Michael, would you care to add anything to this?
No, I think Anne Marie did a really great job as a former assessor. One of the assessors that hired Anne Marie at the time when I was on the Board of Assessors. And of course, Mr. Darcy was another member of the Board of Assessors, so. There's not enough, I mean, to Mr. Kelly's point, there isn't enough business to do that. We don't have the type of businesses that have to physically be here. So, if we shifted the burden to the small amount of businesses we have here, we would just force them out. We're trying to be more attractive to get businesses to come here, so.
Right. Today, we talked about one of your PowerPoints, and I was surprised that the residential class valuation is 93.75%, and the commercial, industrial, and personal property, also known as CIP, acronym, right, Eric?
I got that when I saw
All right.
it. It's not like
I said it for, just was, yeah.
No, I get it.
I'm not
I get
funny,
it.
my kid said I'm not funny either, but, so it's at 6.25%, so that actually really does speak volumes that we are a residential town, and we need to grow and have all that other good stuff that a residential town needs, so.
Bring them in so then we can shift it.
Yep, we'll see. Right. So thank you. So you said I needed to make 4 votes?
So you can move that the town of Marshfield continues to tax all classes at the same rate by adopting a factor of 1 and reject the small commercial exemption and residential exemption.
Exactly. Yep, so I have that, and I appreciate you reading it, but I'm going to read it as well.
Sorry.
So, the board moves that the town of Marshfield continues to tax all classes at the same rate by adopting a factor of 1 and to reject the small commercial exemption and the residential exemption. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to support the recommendations of the Board of Assessors.
Guys sign this.
Sure.
And then that way.
This is blue, right?
Yep.
And I won't bring you any suggestions. This is, the PowerPoint's a new thing, so.
I liked it.
It was very good. It was very detailed.
Yeah, it's new.
A lot of numbers.
Do you want me to just do chair, or do you
That's
comp?
fine, yeah. And then I can upload it.
Any other signatures? Just mine. Okay. Just makes,
Next is?
yeah, I guess so. Thank you.
Everybody voted ayes. Everybody's signed.
Spread the field.
And if you have any other questions,
No, I appreciate it.
I'm always
I
Do you
appreciate it.
ever break down the stockpile, the homes on the assessed value, like, what's that? 3 million, what's that? 2 million, what's that?
Yeah, I do. And I have business breakdown as well, so. Just you guys. So this is 101 single family, 102 condos, and then this is businesses.
We need to sign here as well.
No.
Okay.
Nope, you're good.
We're good, so just on the other one.
Everybody
All
here?
done. Yes.
Awesome.
Yes,
Thank you
ma'am.
so much.
Thank you, appreciate it. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too.
Have a nice evening.
You as well.
Okay, so. Time is 7:46, and we have a joint meeting with the trustees of the Veterans Memorial for the purpose of filling the vacancy created by the resignation of William Ciano until the next municipal election. So, your board members, if you'd like to come up, just pull a chair over and introduce yourselves for the record. Just slide over. Hey there.
Gotcha.
Very good. Welcome. Appreciate you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And
Good evening.
introduce yourselves for the record. Ed?
I'm sorry.
Introduce yourself for the record.
My name is...
Name and address.
I'm a co-chairman of the trustees.
And address? Ed?
Oh,
Ed.
I'm sorry. 1218 Forest Street,
Thank you.
here in Marshfield.
Hi, sir. Nice to see you again.
Yes, my name is Edwin Sullivan. I'm chairman of the Board of Trustees of the Veterans Memorial Park, and I reside at 15 Woodchuck Lane.
Excellent. Thank you.
My
Hi.
name's Heather White. I am one of the non-veteran trustees. of
Okay.
the Memorials, 57 Marshall.
Well, you guys do a fabulous job, so thank you for that. So, as I mentioned, we need to make a joint vote here, our 3 votes, your 3 votes, and you have a recommendation for this evening, or,
Yes, our recommendation is for Jamie Kern.
okay. Okay, Michael, do you have Jamie's resume? Or
Yes, it
information
should
on
be
him?
right in the book there. Let's see.
You have it? Okay, yep. Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you.
Want a copy?
Oh, I appreciate it, yep. Thank you so much.
Actually, that's not.
This is here, Marshfield resident, 2006, Jamie Curran's information. And he was an Eagle Scout, correct me if I'm wrong. And his Eagle Scout project was to identify and beautification of our veterans' graves, Milton Cemetery. He also was a Thayer Nursery at Milton, foreman for landscape construction teams 4 to 5 years, a Mass Maritime graduate, 1999, BS Facilities Plant Engineering, General Electric Power Systems Field Engineer, gas turbine power plants, current law enforcement officer, decorated, and MS at UMass Lowell, forensic criminology. But the icing on the cake for what we have here today is United States Army 1989 to 2005, decorated combat veteran, Operation Iraqi Freedom 1 and 2. So that is your recommendation?
It is.
Yes.
All right. So I would be amiss if I didn't also mention another candidate, and that was Michael Wolf as well. And I'd like to extend our appreciation to him as well and his service. And I will, his work, volunteer highlights, advisory council, for Friends of the South River Park and Greenway, Advisory Council, North and South Rivers Watershed Association, co-founder, North Marshfield Neighborhood Association, co-founder, Las Huacas Community Association, Nassau, Costa Rica, New England Roundtable Council of Logistics Management, President Emeritus. Also work highlights, again, U.S. Army, Captain, 1969 to 1976, commanded 21st Transportation Company in Korea for 2 years. U.S. Army Reserve, Major, 1976 to 1989, Transportation Management Analysis, Washington, D.C. Volpe National Transportation System Center Division Manager, 1976 to 1997, Skilled Group Facilitator and Seminar Leader. The North River Consulting Group Principal, 1998 to 2017. And his education, University of Denver, St. Lawrence University. So both excellent candidates. We'll take your recommendation, and I will ask Steve to add anything if you care to do so.
No, you guys are one of our best committees in town, stock full of good people, and so we're happy to have 2 more.
One more.
Oh, it's or, sorry.
Yes. Yes. Anything you'd like to add?
I I would just like to ask, because this is one thing I was looking at both candidates, I'm like, yeah, this is going to be a tough one to choose, but I guess in a way it's already been done. So why was Mr. Was it Curran? More favored, I guess you could say, than Mr. Wolf.
I'm sorry, I can't understand you.
Why was Mr. Curran more favored over than Mr. Wolf?
Thank you. Ed and I are co-chairman, well, he's the chairman, I'm the co-chairman, and the trustees are made up of 3 veterans and 2 civilians. I have signed up for one more term, as Ed has. In the last election, we were both elected for one more term of 3 years. I'm 80 years old, and I will serve out my term of 2.5 years, and then I will resign from the trustees. We are a group that is hands-on. We do a lot of work together in the park. We have a need for the people to be here, to perform those duties. And we would like to have someone that's available to us for future years to take my place when I resign. And Jamie has also volunteered throughout the years for work with us, and he's well qualified, and that's the reason for our recommendation.
All right. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to see 2 names, and I will take your recommendation for the vote. So the board moves to appoint Jamie Currans as the member of the Veterans Memorial, and I'll read it here. The board moves to appoint James Curran by a roll call vote of each board to fill the remainder of the term on the trustees of Veterans Memorial until the next municipal election, at which time the individual would need to run for the remainder of the term until 2027. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly second. A roll call is in order. I'll start with the select board. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Now I'll move on to the trustee of veterans, Mr. Sullivan,
Aye.
Mr. Timlin,
Aye.
Ms. White.
Aye.
It's a unanimous 6-0 vote to appoint Jamie Curran.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ed, if you're 80, what's your healthcare routine? I would never.
Visits our office every day.
That's it. I'm gonna start coming by every day.
We'll do it.
I know it also hurts.
With We're off. Thank you.
Bye. Have a nice night. Okay.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you. So we are moving down to our action item number 2. Okay. Give me a second here. And Michael, would you share with the board and
Yes.
the public what is going on with this?
So action item number 2 is for Article 5 in the special town meeting. I made a recommendation to the select board that the select board vote to indefinitely postpone Article 5. Article 5 was the article relating to the school committee and the select board regarding the school leases for the roofs for the photovoltaics. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done. There's not a lot of support out there, so we certainly don't want to be wasting town meetings' time at this point. Just so folks know what the process is, in order to move forward, we will need to have an architect. We did hire an architect through an RFP process. We had to hire the architect to prepare an RFP. We would then need to have the RFP written for the roof repairs to repair the four school roofs with the covering, and then to repair the Marshfield High School roofs where the leaks are. We would also then need to draft an RFP for the actual leases, because we would go out to a competitive bid with other photovoltaic companies for them to bid. So all of that will take time. You could do it either way. You could have a town meeting vote now and then do the process, or you can do the process and have the town meeting vote. But I think a lot of it's predicated on support. So right now, there isn't the support. There's a lot of other things going on at this time. So my recommendation would be that we indefinitely postpone Article 5.
Okay. So I appreciate that recommendation, and I know that there's been a lot of work, not just by you, but by a lot of different folks over the years, and town meeting as well, going through to get us to a point. And I started to go through the town's information. I mean, I've been looking at it forever, but it was, there's a lot of work that's been done, and so I
All the way
appreciate-
back to 2018.
Yep. So we have the clay pit, we have the fire station.
The police station.
I'm sorry, the police station and
DPW.
DPW, that's right. So thank you for that, and I'm in support of that as well. So removing it, I think at this time is prudent, so. Anything you'd like to say?
No, I got Michael's email. The explanation made sense. There's still kind of a lot of moving parts here, so it might be better just to postpone it. Maybe what we could do is have a member of the select board, and obviously Michael, meet with the school committee. They can have two people since they're a 5-member board. And, you know, Tom Miller or their superintendent, and maybe get a game plan together.
That's what I did. Thank you, Mr. Darcy, for that. I did speak to the superintendent. We do a phone call every other week, and I did notify him that I was pretty sure the board would be voting to withdraw this in lieu of, we get the Martinson School already on there.
Yeah.
We have the MBTA, and we need to do some more work and garner support on their side, since it is their building. So he liked the idea, and that's the type of committee that we proposed.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you. Anything you'd like to say, Eric?
I mean, I definitely agree that the appetite for this is not there. It probably certainly won't be there, even in the future. I think we should explore all options in regards to the roofs and see what's out there. I just don't see going with photovoltaics on the school roofs as something that is going to be successful in the future. So that's where I'm at.
Okay, all right, thank you. So with that being said, I'd like the board to acknowledge that I'm asking the board to, the board moves to ask town meeting to indefinitely postpone Article 5 on the special town meeting warrant. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to ask town meeting to indefinitely postpone Article 5.
Thank you. Okay. So now we are moving into the actual, Michael's got some reading to do.
Oh, I did check with Bob. Good news. You can just read the article explanation.
Oh, excellent, okay.
Yes.
So this
Perfect.
is a discussion and vote to ask town meeting discussion vote on special town meeting warrant articles.
Okay.
So it's all yours, Michael.
Oh, okay. Article 1 is required in order to pay bills from previous fiscal years, and these are bills that came in after the end of the fiscal year on June 30th. So the money's there to pay them, but because they came in after the end of the fiscal year under state law, you would need town meeting to authorize the paying of the bills.
Okay. The board moves to support Article 1. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to to support Article 1. Article 2, this article does not require any additional funding outside of the budget that will be passed, and these are collective bargaining agreements that have been settled. It's for the clerical and the supervisory union. There's no money, but we've always historically brought it to town meeting to support. Town meeting doesn't negotiate, the select board and me as the representative of the board negotiates. So this is just formality.
Okay. The board moves to support Article 2. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
All right.
Unanimous vote to approve. Article 3 is the update of the wages provided to our personnel bylaw employees. They would get the same base of 2% like our union contracts, and personnel bylaw covers all of our employees that are not under collective bargaining.
Okay. The board moves to support Article 3. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
I have a question.
Yes.
Was there anything added on to this as in regards to steps or grades?
No. Just they get a strict 2%.
Okay.
So I'll say that again. The board moves to support Article 3. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to support Article 3. Article 4 is the free cash, which we're waiting to hear our free cash, but we're pretty confident it will be certified by town meeting. And this article covers those expenditures along with some closeouts of some articles that were over 3 years old.
Okay, thank you. The board moves to support Article 4. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
I have questions on this, but I can ask at
Okay.
the town meeting. I'll just say present.
Okay. 2 in the affirmative, 1 in the present.
Okay. And the board moves to withdraw / postpone Article 5.
Yep. Which we already voted.
We already did that?
Yep.
So we can move on.
Yep.
Okay. Article 6. Thank you.
Article 6,
Dinner?
this article is authorization to borrow the $1,050,000 for the purpose of funding a feasibility schematic design study for the roof replacement project at the Martinson Elementary School roof under the Accelerated Repair Program, ARP, of the Massachusetts School Building Authority, MSBA, for which the town may be eligible for a school construction grant from the MSBA, and to meet this appropriation, the treasurer collector, with the approval of the select board, is authorized to borrow the said sum of $1,050,000 pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 44, General Laws 70B.
Okay. The board moves to support Article 6. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
I have a question. In
Yes.
regards to this, this funding, especially where it's going to be going through the MSBA, is the town looking at an override in the future?
Wouldn't be an override, we'd be doing a debt exclusion for the
exclusion,
difference.
yeah.
That's correct. Yep.
Do we know what the expense of that will be, potentially?
Not yet, because this will get us the schematic design. The schematic design would be required to, though that would design out the project, then it's that design that would be bid out, and that would get us that would tell us what the cost would be.
How do we come up for the sum of $1,050,000?
It was a formula that the MSBA has based on general information. 15% of the total cost of $7 million.
$7 million.
Well, that's what they estimate the cost to be. They won't know what the cost is until they go out to bid.
Well, who's estimating it right now?
MSBA.
So they've already estimated the cost of the roof would be $7 million?
I mean, they use some data. So, for instance, they take the size of the roof, some of the scoping of that roof needs to have some structural stuff done. That sort of gives them some parameters, but they won't really know until they go to the market.
I'm not any fan of debt exclusion, but I'd like to see what they come up with.
Can I just add another?
Yes, you
point to
may.
that? So in the joint select board and advisory, there was a topic regarding the grant that would be provided, and that a portion of this $1,050,000 would be part of that grant.
Well, whatever's not
That-
spent in this money can roll to
Rolls
the
over.
remainder, that's correct.
Okay, all right. Just wanted to,
And then that would be
Clarify.
subtracted out, so for instance, let's just deal with whole number, if it was 7 million, let's say it was 7 million, it held to 7 million for the cost of the roof.
yep,
They spent, $550,000. There would be about 500,000 that would come off, and then the rest would be a debt exclusion.
the proportionate amount, yep, okay.
Madam Chair, I just got one more.
Yes, go ahead.
So, in regards to this, are they going, when they do this schematic design study, what are they basing it off of? Are they basing it off how the roof is now, or in the future, say, they're gonna, additional weight added onto it in the future in regards to the schematic design?
So this will be a total rip down and rebuild with some structural underpinning done to the roof, and it has to meet the state building code for weight.
Any particular weight, or?
I'm not an expert in that. An engineer will design it.
There was some inference that it would be similar to the scope of the Furnace Brook roof.
Similar, yeah.
Similar.
Similar. This had this has some,
Different
this had some
square footage,
structural
other
issues.
Yeah,
With
it's never
I think it's
same, but
called,
yeah.
I'm not an expert, but I think it's called inflection. It's how the building
It's got a bounce
goes
on
in,
it.
correct.
Did they put a steel beam in there a while ago?
I wouldn't be qualified to
That's
answer
when they
that,
did,
Mr.
but,
Kelly.
all right, but, so when this, design, comes back, it's gonna have all the answers and questions for us in regards to what they're doing.
That is correct,
All that,
yep.
all right, thank you.
And that's a requirement of the MSBA, is to have all that factual information.
All set?
Yes.
So the board, again, I'll say it again, the board moves to support Article 7. Do I have a second?
Article 6.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
No,
We
there
have
we
a
go.
second.
Article 6.
Yep. We have a second.
Happens
So
to the
roll
best
call
of
is in order. Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to support Article 6.
I had my.
Article
pen.
7.
Turned the page.
Article 7 is the town utilizes this regulation to restrict consumption of alcoholic beverages on public ways and public property. The town has authorized the issuance of one-day special licenses under Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 14, in the past on townways, properties, and properties leased by the town to other entities for community events, block parties, weddings, reunions, village activity, neighborhood festivals, activities, and events. During the summer of 2024, the conflict between this bylaw and long-term practices of the town became apparent where events were proposed or occurred on town properties, and in order to continue to allow the support, the ability to approve events and change in the bylaw is recommended and would be consistent with the practices and procedures in other South Shore communities.
Okay, thank you. Questions?
No, thank you.
Questions?
Yes, thank you. Mike, I was taking a look at this Mass General Law 138, Chapter 138, Section 14. Now, is this only applied to nonprofits and not, like, regular businesses to be able to have functions on town property? I mean, I'm leaning towards it's just not,
Okay,
like, if you're a nonprofit, you can hold this function if the select board provides it, but it doesn't provide any, it appears it doesn't apply, give any leeway in regards to a nonprofit, a business that is a business, for-profit business, I guess you could look at.
So my understanding is Chapter 138, Section 14 is the section of the ABC regulations that allows cities and towns to issue the one-day licenses. What this bylaw, this would be a bylaw just for Marshfield, but similar to what other towns in the South Shore have adopted, because they were in the same position that we were, that they had town property where a lot of public events go on, and they want to have the ability to allow them to serve beer and wine or alcohol of their choosing. In order to do that, there comes into conflict. In the past, the town has approved licenses, the board has approved licenses for, nonprofits. I can't think of a for-profit that we've ever done it for. Usually they're nonprofits. Now, some of our nonprofits have town buildings that they have leases, and, within the lease, they're allowed to have those activities. But this bylaw, if adopted by town meeting, would clear up that ambiguity, and then a vote by the select board would allow nonprofits to have, serve alcohol on town property, only if approved, only if the bylaw is approved. And this, as we know, there was an event this summer, and it became very controversial, and that's why town council drafted this bylaw.
All right, so you got this bylaw in here. Is there a way to amend the article to allow a for-profit entity to have the same privileges?
I'd have to ask town council. I'm not a lawyer, so I wouldn't be able to answer that question for you.
I get
And I wouldn't want to, because I
No.
wouldn't want to give the board wrong information.
Oh, I get that.
But I can find out tomorrow from Bob for you.
Yeah, that'd be great, because I think a lot of people are pondering this question right now for
Okay.
town meeting.
Okay. The board moves to support Article 7. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
I'm gonna say present.
Okay,
Present.
2 in the affirmative, 1 in the present, and I will get you your answer, Mr. Kelly, on Article 7. Article 8, this bylaw require all new and existing parks and playgrounds in the town of Marshfield to be constructed or reconstructed in a manner that meets or exceeds any federal and/or state accessibility law and regulation, including the Americans with Disability Act, the state public accommodation laws, and the rules and regulations of the Architectural Access Board.
Okay. The board moves to support Article 8. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0.
Number 9.
Article 9, this article will authorize the select board to declare available disposition of parcels of town-owned land located at 1929 Main Street, Marshfield, identified in the assessors map as parcel D 18-0205 for affordable purposes.
Okay.
Question.
I have a question as well on this.
Hmm?
The property itself has an existing structure or multiple structures on it. So does this price include the demolition and removal of that? Or is this going to stand as a structure? Do you have any
There is
of the
no price,
details?
there is no price in this article. This is just to allow the town, so the trust this is brought forward to the town because the trust, if you remember, the trust wants to work with Habitat, to have Habitat. So we bought a piece of land.
Okay.
The land came with that house at 1929, it's non-habitable, and we'd like to rebuild that house. We had reached out, when I say we, the trust
Right.
had reached out to Habitat. Habitat did have it perked, the land did perk. Town meeting approved the purchase of the land with building a couple of affordable units at a minimum at this location. So this would, if this passed the town meeting.
It would go
then
through the
it would
trust,
go
as
through the
we're
trust,
aware. Okay.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Any question?
Yes.
Go ahead.
All right, so Mike, you're saying you're gonna, upon Lynn's question, your answer?
Yes.
You said you're gonna rehab the current house on the property?
So they're gonna probably tear it down and they're gonna maybe leave the foundation or not. They'll have to have an engineer take a look, but they would replace that with another house in its place.
All right, and I believe you said at town meeting that, the last town meeting, according to what I'm hearing from you, is that they said they approved building a couple of
I think
affordable houses.
it was like, whenever we bought the land, it wasn't this past spring, so it was probably either the spring of '23 or the fall of '22, we purchased the remaining part of the land, and there was a 2-acre section that was sort of cut off, and that was designated for affordable housing.
All right, I guess I asked you to add to your list if you can send me the article for
Yep.
this tomorrow. And then the other is,
Kate, would you just make a note of that? Thank you.
and then the other is, so the town's losing control of this property?
You're asking me, is the town losing control? No, so the town has control, actually, the select board has control of
Correct.
the property right now.
Correct.
And then the town, the select board, working through the trust, will develop this land to build the units.
Yeah, but it says authorize select board to dispose of said parcel by sale, conveyance, or otherwise.
Yep.
So my concern is that the town, or, so it says select board, we are not gonna have this property in our control.
That's correct. It's actually, it's the trust would be built, the trust, we wouldn't, well, we could build it, but right now, we need to get authorization at town meeting to follow through with the original wishes when the article was adopted to buy the larger piece of land that then segregated this smaller piece of land for affordable housing.
Yes, my concern is one, there was a couple here, is that the town's potentially parting way with property. That is that, according to the article, is .80 acres of land. And one of our big topics for the last year or two is our GLAM number. And so if we unload this property, we're gonna be .80 acres of land less. My look at it is that, since it's in the town's control, I would imagine we'd still be able to accomplish what needs to be done as an affordable house being built there, in my opinion, or houses, however it goes. So I do have concerns in regards to relinquishing this land.
Okay, so I think that relinquishing the land, it will become a better suited property for affordable housing. And whether or not whatever the trust dictates will happen with that will be a vote through the select board to let that happen. So, and I understand, I don't have the actual documentation in front of me that explains the authority of the select board with this trust. But as we all know, affordable housing was always a concern for the town of Marshfield, and I think it still is. So I think that this serves the purpose. Otherwise, you would have a vacant piece of property with a structure sitting on it in perpetuity. So we're not losing, I guess, I hear your point as far as town meeting is saying this is okay to move forward as they would do with any other piece of property. Adding it as surplus is not really what this is doing. It's creating a vehicle for affordable housing.
No,
on this particular property.
I get all that. I'm just saying, look, the big topic right now is the 40B laws and the GLAM.
But that's not what this is.
Well, the whole thing is that if we relinquish this land, which it appears that the select board is being asked to vote on, that we will lose that .80 acres of land. And my look at it is that I think this affordable housing, however you can look at it, could still be done with this land in the control, with that land still being in the control of the town or said select board.
Okay,
That's my opinion on it.
okay.
And then, Madam Chair, if I may
Yes.
just follow up on
Yes.
what you had said, you're 100% correct. In the trust, 52, I remember it, 52-19 is where the
long
vote
night.
and the select board votes on whatever we do with land.
Right.
Well, aren't we right now?
Pardon me?
Aren't we doing that right now with Article 9?
Yes.
Okay. The board moves to support Article 9. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Nay.
Okay, 2-1 vote, and motion passes. Okay, Article 10. Let's see. Article 10. This article will provide funding to hire a qualified landscape design firm to prepare design plans for the park expansion, the South River Park. The expanded space will extend universal access, walking path to the river, and be designed consistent with ecologically sensitive land use. The funds will be used for required engineering and permitting preparations for bid documents and construction cost estimates. Funding for the park construction will be sought at a later date.
Question.
Question by Eric Kelly.
So this is the parcel that's right next to,
South River Park, yep.
yes, thank you.
2160, yep.
And so, it's a decent size piece of property, I believe, right? Isn't this one with the house on it, or it dips down on the
It's
driveway?
like, there's a steep thing, there's no building, the building.
Did they take the building down?
Oh, the building was taken down before we took control.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a nuisance, yeah.
Okay. Are they developing that whole property into a park?
Yes, the remaining, that piece. Town meeting, we acquired that to be consistent with, that's the parcel of land that they'll have to cover. There was some coal ash. So coal ash is one of those things you have to cover. So they'll do some work to that land, and it will be a park with some walkways, and it's just nature. So it will be really an extension of the South River Park will extend to the gas station now.
Yeah, that's my concern, is that we have eliminated 2 parcels of business property, I guess you could say, for this park. And my concern is what are the goals for this South River Committee in regards to the rest of the stretch of businesses and land there in regards to it. My other thing is, as well, is that where there was a building on it, and I don't know what they have for plans for a park, but especially where open space owns it, and I don't know if they really need that entire area as a park in itself, but I mean, especially where there's a building there, my look at it is that it'd probably be a good place to maybe put an affordable home, in my opinion. So, that's it, Madam Chairwoman.
Okay. That property was CPC funds, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to support Article 10. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Present.
We have 2 in the affirmative, 1 in the present. Motion carries.
Okay. Article 11.
Okay, Article 11, this article will provide funding, professional title examination, and probate services to complete 20 title searches on properties for which there are no known owners. 376-plus acres of land. Many of the properties lie within the floodplain. Increasing the town-owned land inventory in these areas will improve the town's standing in the National Flood Insurance Program, NIFIP, Community Rating System, CRS, reducing the cost of flood insurance for residents, and will also help to bring the town closer to meeting the General Land Area Minimum, known as GLAM, calculations required to reach the threshold necessary to avoid future 40B developments.
Okay, the board moves to support Article 11. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, passes 3-0. Okay, Article 12. Article 12 is the MBTA zoning article. Let me just get to the explanation. Okay. This article is to zone an area of the town to allow multifamily dwellings at up to 16 units per acre by right under site plan review, and to comply with Section 3A of the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 48, and promotes the use of public transportation.
Board moves to support Article 12. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Nay.
2-1, motion passes. Okay, Article 13, this overlay zoning district meets the minimum requirements for the town to comply with Section 3A, Massachusetts General Laws 40A, as outlined by the EOHLC, Executive Office of Livable Communities?
Housing.
Housing and Livable Community. Thank you, Mr. Darcy.
You're welcome.
It was a tongue twister.
Yeah, it was a tough one.
Board moves to support, I'm sorry, I was reading it.
Yeah.
The board moves to support Article 13. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Nay.
Vote passes 2-1.
Article 14.
Article 14. This article is to provide reference in the table of use where information on the MBTA community zoning can be found in the zoning bylaw.
Okay, the board moves to support Article 14. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Nay.
Motion carries 2-0.
Okay, number 15.
Article 15. Article 15, this article modifies the existing residential accessory apartment bylaw by allowing an accessory dwelling unit by right under site plan review in order to meet the requirements of Chapter 150 of the Acts of 2024.
Thank you. The board moves to support Article 15. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Nay.
Motion carries 2-1.
16.
16, this article would replace the existing definition of residential accessory apartments with a new definition that would cover both an accessory dwelling unit within a single-family house or within an accessory structure.
Okay. The board moves to support Article 16. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Nay.
Motion carries 2-1. Article 17, this article identifies the zoning districts where accessory dwelling units are allowed.
Okay. Article 7, and the board moves to support Article 17. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Nay.
Motion carries 2-1. Article 18, this language is to clarify when a proposed project requires a WRPD special permit, water resource special permit for planning board can also undertake with site plan approval in order to simplify and reduce permitting by multiple boards.
Okay. Board moves to support Article 18. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Present.
Motion passes by 2 to present. Article 19, language is to identify in what zoning districts battery energy storage systems are allowed.
Okay. The board moves to support Article 19. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Nay.
Motion carries 2 in the positive, 1 in the negative. Article 20, this language is to provide a definition of battery energy storage systems.
Okay. The board moves to support Article 20. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Nay.
Motion carries 2-1.
Okay, 21.
Okay, Article 21, this language is to bring the town in compliance with the Dover Amendment protection of solar installations.
The board moves to support Article 21. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Present.
Motion passes by 2 and 1 present. Article 22, The town previously authorized $90,000 to fund the purchase of 2 Chevy Colorado pickup trucks. Currently, these vehicles are not available to the town, so they'll need to reallocate the funds to purchase 2 Silverado pickup trucks as the replacement for these 2 vehicles as needed.
Okay. The board moves to support Article 22. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0.
Okay.
Article 23, the contract work to upgrade Plymouth Ave Pump Station is underway based on an increase in scope of work and the need to increase contingencies to approximately 4%. The total project cost has increased
Okay.
from 8.1 million to 9 million.
The board moves to support Article 23. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Article 24 is recommendation at town meeting, and this is the DPW P&S was drafted today, and Bob approved it to be signed by the DPW. This is for the DPW to buy 829 Old Main Street. I think it should be 829A, but let me just see. Let me look at the, if you bear with me 1 second, I just want to look at the P&S.
Would that be a Scribner's error?
Yeah. Let's see. $829 Old Main Street.
Okay, so it's
829A Old Main Street is what it should say.
829A.
Yep, 829A Old Main Street Extension.
Okay, so line 4 of Article 24 has a Scribner
Yep,
and numbered 829A. A is the insert.
correct. So town meeting will have to correct that on town meeting floor.
And the motion, I'll read it in the motion.
So,
And the explanation as well.
yep, and the explanation is that they want to purchase, the DPW wants to purchase this using water retained earnings to protect the aquifer. And this is the beginning, this is at the entrance of the wellhead protection for that well.
Okay.
829A Old Main Street Extension.
Okay, the board moves to support Article 24 with the 2 Scribner errors identified. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Article 25. The Board of Public Works is looking to amend Chapter 285, Section 285-19.1 of the town's E-Code 360 bylaws by adding the words "Building Commissioner" to the list of town agencies that will receive notification and work plans.
Okay, the board moves to support Article 25. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve Article 25. Article 26. The proposed change to the general bylaw updates existing bylaw language, eliminates the dates for annual applications or reapplication, and provides for an online renewal by mail or online.
Okay. The board moves to support Article 26. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Article 27. Article 27, the proposed changes are intended to update the language of certain provisions of the waterway bylaws to reflect more modern terminology, clarify regulations relative to tie-ups, and provide clarity as to the restriction of certain types of activities and uses that are restricted.
Okay. The board moves to support Article 27. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Article 28, this amendment changes debt share calculations from a fixed 3-year look-back of enrolled students to a 4-year rolling average look-back of enrolled students. A 4-year rolling average adjusts for shifts in enrollment over time. To account for the move to a 4-year rolling average, Marshfield's annual adjustment calculations would run through FY '32. Then, starting in FY '33, its debt share would be calculated using the 4-year rolling average, because at that point, it would have comparable enrollment history to other towns. Example, 4 consecutive years of grades 9 through 12 students enrolled in the district. And this has to do with South Shore Regional Vocational School District Regional Agreement.
Okay. The board moves to support Article 28. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Just doing a recap. Everybody okay?
Yes.
Surviving.
Surviving, all right. So the articles pass for action item number 3, with one article being withdrawn. Okay. So we're moving into action item number 4, which is a discussion and vote on annual renewal of licenses for restaurants and clubs. And I'm going to need a glass of water before I start this one. Okay. 2 seconds. Yeah. Okay. So we have a list of annual liquor license renewals for restaurants and clubs, and we will vote contingent on receiving the necessary forms and fees, as well as clearance from the treasurer collector that taxes are current. So, let's start with
Aoama.
Aoama, Asian Bistro, Restaurant Alcohol, Common Vic. Cask and Flagon, Restaurant All Alcohol, Common Vic. Disabled American Vets.
Madam Chair.
Should I need to do entertainment as well?
I'd read them all, but if I may just clarify for the chair and the board, we're actually only voting tonight on annual liquor license renewals. But we might as well read everything into the record.
Just a second. The board moves to approve the annual liquor license renewals.
Should be renewal of licenses for restaurants.
Oh, because in the top, it just says annual liquor license renewals for restaurants and clubs. Yeah. Oh, no, I don't know if, let me look at the agenda. Let's see. I just want to be sure before we do it.
Number 4. Annual renewal of licenses for restaurants and clubs.
Okay, so you definitely need to read them all in, yeah.
Okay, I'll start again. Aoama, Asian Bistro, Restaurant All Alcohol, Common Vic, Entertainment. So just so people know, license 1 is the restaurant, license 2 is the Common Vic, license 3 is the entertainment.
Well, license 1 would
2
be
would be rates. What?
the type of restaurant, right?
Yes. Cask and Flagon, Restaurant All Alcohol, Common Vic, Entertainment. Disabled American Vets, Club All Alcohol, Common Vic, Entertainment. John Bravo Mexican Grill, Restaurant, Wine and Malt, Common Vic, Entertainment. Duke's Beach House, Restaurant All Alcohol, Common Vic, Entertainment. Ember, Restaurant All Alcohol, Common Vic, Entertainment. Fairview Inn and Restaurant, Inn Holder, All Alcohol, Common Vic, Entertainment. Fetch Barbecue and Catering Company, Restaurant, Wine and Malt, Common Vic. Green Harbor Golf Club, Club, All Alcohol, Common Vic, Entertainment. Green Harbor Yacht Club, Club All Alcohol Common Vic Entertainment. Haddad's Ocean Cafe, Restaurant All Alcohol Common Vic Entertainment. K. Katie's Burger Bar, Restaurant All Alcohol Common Vic Entertainment. Live Creative Cuisine, Restaurant All Alcohol Common Vic Entertainment. Mamma Mia's Restaurant, Restaurant All Alcohol Common Vic Entertainment. Manny's Pizza of Marshfield, Restaurant Wine and Malt Common Vic Entertainment. Marshfield Country Club, Club All Alcohol Common Vic Entertainment. Marshfield Famous Pizza, Restaurant Wine and Malt Common Vic Entertainment. Marshfield Lodge of Elks, 2494, Club All Alcohol Common Vic Entertainment. Marshfield VFW, Club All Alcohol Common Vic Entertainment. Marshfield Yacht Club, Club All Alcohol Common Vic Entertainment. Mia Ragazza of Marshfield, Restaurant All Alcohol Common Vic Entertainment. Ming Dynasty, Restaurant All Alcohol Common Vic Entertainment. Ocean House Coastal Grill, Restaurant All Alcohol Common Vic Entertainment. 139 Kitchen and Bar, Restaurant All Alcohol Common Vic Entertainment. Polcari's Bridgeway Inn, Inn Holder, All Alcohol Common Vic Entertainment. Rafferty's Pub, Restaurant All Alcohol Common Vic Entertainment. Rote Marine, Restaurant All Alcohol Common Vic Entertainment. Sashimi Asian Cuisine, Restaurant All Alcohol Common Vic Entertainment. Stellwagen Beer Company, Farmer Brewery Permit, Pouring Permit, Common Vic Entertainment. The Corner Cafe, Restaurant Wine and Malt, Common Vic Entertainment. The Jetty, Restaurant All Alcohol Common Vic Entertainment. The Marsh, Restaurant Wine and Malt, Common Vic Entertainment. The Roadhouse, Restaurant All Alcohol Common Vic Entertainment. Venus Two Brothers, Restaurant All Alcohol Common Vic Entertainment. I just want to make sure I said correctly. Polcari's Bridgeway Inn, under license 4, is an inn holder. And I want to make sure I did Fairview Inn and Restaurant, license 4, inn holder. I don't know if I caught that column.
Good catch.
Okay. Any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Did I do a great job?
And you crushed it.
Yeah. Eric, it's kind of a fun, as the years go by, as the years go by.
Crushed it.
Okay, crushed it, wow.
Throw an Eric can up there.
Yeah. Madam Chair, when you
Yes.
read the motion, motion number 4, want to strike the word liquor after annual, so it just reads annual license renewals.
Okay, I got it. All set, Eric?
License
Yeah.
plural.
Okay. Licenses.
Yeah.
Okay. The board moves to approve the annual licenses renewals for the aforementioned restaurants and clubs contingent on receiving the necessary forms, payment of the fee, and clearance from the treasurer collector that taxes are paid. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0.
Okay, number 5. How's the IT doing in there? Very good. You guys happy? Yes. Okay, just checking. Here we go. Discussion and vote on annual renewal of licenses, of license for package stores. Okay, this is number 5. And below is the list of annual liquor license renewals for package stores. Please vote contingent on receiving the necessary forms and fees, as well as clearance from the treasurer collector that taxes are current. So, these are, column 1 is DBA, A1 Quick Mart, license 1, package wine and malt. Green Harbor General Store, DBA, package all alcohol, license 1. Hubbard's Cupboard, DBA, package wine and malt, license 1. Jackinson's, package wine and malt, license 1. Marshfield Blanchard's, package all alcohol, license 1. Marshfield Hills General Store, package wine and malt, license 1, license 2 is common vic. Marshfield Liquors, license 1, package all alcohol, North River Beverage, License 1, Package All Alcohol. Ocean Bluff Packet, Package All Alcohol, License 1. Ocean Market and Liquor, Package Wine and Malt, License 1. Rexham Package Store, Package All Alcohol, License 1. Roach Brothers Supermarket, Package Wine and Malt, License 1, License 2, Common Vic. That takes care of that. Any questions or comments? Any questions or comments?
None.
Okay, the board moves to approve the annual liquor license renewals for the aforementioned package stores contingent on receiving the necessary forms, payment of the fee, and clearance from the treasurer collector that the taxes are paid. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0.
Number 6, 2 more, well, almost, oh, we have to. Discussion and vote on request for extension of hours on New Year's Eve. Okay. The following restaurants and clubs have submitted requests for permission of a 1-hour extension of their regular closing time for New Year's Eve, December 31st, 2024. Please also consider granting approval to any requests from restaurants, clubs received prior to December 31st, 2024, contingent on receiving the necessary forms and fees, as well as clearance from the treasurer collector that taxes are current. So far, we have Marshfield Lodge of Elks, 2494, and Rafferty's Pub. All right. Any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Eric?
The ones that are even are not on this, are we going to be apprised of them asking for an extension to the?
Yes, so,
This is what the motion reads. The board,
No, but I'm saying,
Send a list to the police departments.
right.
okay, yeah.
Yep.
All right, that's fine, thank you.
And we just do this, Madam Chair, if I may, for Mr. Kelly. We
please.
just do this because what happens inevitably, they wait to the day before the
Oh.
34th and decided that they wanted to stay open.
Oh, no,
Yep.
I mean, didn't somebody want to do that on I think the Friday before because the Patriots are playing in New England? They wanted to open it up?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
okay. So the board moves to approve the 1-hour extension for the following restaurants, clubs, Marshfield Lodge of Elks, 2494, and Rafferty's Pub, to their regular closing time for New Year's Eve, December 31st, 2024, contingent on receiving the necessary forms, payment of the fee, and clearance from the treasurer collector that the taxes are paid. The board further moves to grant approvals to any other requests from restaurants or clubs received prior to December 31st, 2024, contingent on receiving the necessary forms, payment of the fee, and clearance from the treasurer collector. The taxes are paid. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve, 3-0.
Number 9, discussion and vote on request for permission to accept 2 donations, Veterans Services. I did that
I think
wrong,
we did.
sorry.
7.
Discussion and vote on approval of interim loan for Massachusetts Clean Water Trust, sorry. Okay. And we have our town accountant here. I'm sorry,
It's a
you
shapeshifter.
here forever. Sean, would you like to share with us what this is in regards to? I'd appreciate it. And identify yourself again for the record.
Sean Strobel, Treasurer for the Town of Marshfield. The purpose of this vote is to authorize the interim borrowing for the Plymouth Avenue pump station. So the interim loan is part of the state revolving fund, which is managed by the Mass Clean Water Trust. So they have agreed to provide the town with interim financing at 0% up until 2027. And until that time, that interim borrowing would then mature into a borrowing vehicle or bond at 2%.
Okay. And the percentages for the band to the bond?
So the ban or the interim loan is at 0%.
0%.
Until 2027, and then 2027, we would bond at 2%.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Michael? You wanna
No,
add to
that's-
this? It's pretty self-evident here. So the vote of the select board,
And then the clerk will need to read the narrative.
yep. So Eric, if you would find your place in this and go to it.
I have a question first, if you don't
Okay,
mind, Madam
sure.
Chair. So, does anybody have the article that this was passed on in regards to the April 24, 2023 meeting?
The article,
Yeah.
I don't have it here.
I don't have it, but I can kind of recite it. It's Article 8 that was approved in the April 2023 meeting, which approved the borrowing or the authorization of this project at $8.1 million.
Was it borrowing or other ways of acquiring the money?
Well, it's either borrowing, grants, or the use of ARPA funds.
Okay, and, so we're getting 0% with 5.8 million up until 2027, am I understanding that correct?
Correct. So the interim loan is during the construction phase. So the state revolving fund allows us to borrow money during the construction phase because they know we're not able to generate revenue or charge, in this case it's for an enterprise, utility rate users until their project is complete. And once that project is complete, the interim loan would then convert. Now, the interim loan's at 0%. So there's no way that we can borrow money, especially $5.8 million at 0% for almost 2 years. Once that's complete, that 2% becomes effective when the project is finished and we convert that interim loan into a bond. And that bond is with Mass Clean Water. That 2% goes back into the state revolving fund. So the purpose of the state revolving fund is, as we're paying in that interest, that allows the state revolving fund to actually underwrite other infrastructure projects for other communities that are trying to ensure that they have clean drinking water.
So how long is this loan gonna be for?
It's going to be for 20 years.
20 years. And then how much do you expect to, well, let's put it this way, I guess, are you planning to pay anything towards it in the 0% years?
So it is a fixed principal borrowing, so that means that we are paying a fixed amount on the principal over the course of 20 years. The only change of the variable is going to be the amount of interest, because as we're paying down those principal payments each year, that drives down the interest that we would have to pay on this borrowing.
And lots of money being borrowed. This is, I think this is something that we need to start delving into in regards to our infrastructure and spending, and where we're allocating money and everything, because this is getting out of hand, in my opinion. All right, I'm gonna start reading away. I got 2 pages here. I, the clerk of the select board of the town of Marshfield, Massachusetts, certify that at a meeting of the board held December 2nd, 2024, of which meeting all members of the board were duly notified in which a quorum was present. The following vote was passed, all of which appears upon the official record of the board in my custody. Voted, number 1, that the town shall issue a bond or bonds in the aggregate principal amount not to exceed $5,800,000. The bonds pursuant to Chapter 29C and 44 of General Laws in a vote of the town passed April 24th, 2023, Article 8, which authorized the total borrowing of $8.1 million for the construction of sewers and other water pollution control facilities identified in such vote. Number 2, that that in anticipation of the issuance of the bonds, the treasurer is authorized to issue an interim loan note or notes from time to time in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $5.8 million. That each bond or note shall be, number 3, that each bond or note shall be issued as a single registered security and sold to the Massachusetts Clean Water Trust, the trust, at a price determined pursuant to the financing agreement. Number 4, that the treasurer is authorized to determine the date, the form, the maximum interest rate, and the principal maturities of each bond and note, and to execute a financing agreement or agreements with the trust with respect to the sale of the bonds and notes, such date, form, and maturities, and the specific interest rate or rates of the bonds and notes to be approved by a majority of the select board and the treasurer and evidenced by their execution of the bonds and notes. That any certificates or documents relating to each bond and note, collectively the documents, may be executed in several counterparts, each of which shall be regarded as an original and all of which shall constitute one of the same document. Delivery of the executed counterpart of the signature page to a document by electronic mail in a PDF file or by other electronic transmission shall be effective as a delivery of manually executed counterpart signature page to such document, and electronic signatures on any of the documents shall be deemed original signatures for the purposes of the documents in all matters relating thereto, having the same legal effect as original signatures. That all action number 6, that all action taken to date by the town and its officers and agents to carry out the project and its financing, including the execution of any loan, commitment, or agreement by the treasurer hereby ratified, approved, and confirmed, and that the treasurer and other appropriate town officials are hereby authorized to take any and all actions necessary or convenient to carry out the provisions of this vote, including execution, delivery of the financing agreements, and the project regulatory agreements relating to the project. I further certify that the agenda of the meeting, a copy of which is attached hereto, was posted on the bulletin board of the town last 24 hours before the meeting in compliance with section 7-2 of the town charter. That notice is up, right?
Yes.
I further certify that the vote was adopted at a meeting open to the public, that no vote was taken by secret ballot, that notice stating the place, date, time, and agenda of the meeting, which agenda included the adoption of the above vote, was filed with the town clerk, and a copy thereof posted in a manner conspicuously visible to the public at all hours in or on the municipal building in the office of the town clerk is located, or, if applicable, in accordance with the alternative method of notice prescribed or approved by the Attorney General, as set forth in 940 CMR 29.03 2B, at least 48 hours, not including Saturdays, Sundays, and legal holidays, prior to the time of the meeting, and remain so posted at the time of the meeting that no deliberations or decisions in connection with the sale of bonds or notes were taken in an executive session, and that the official record of the meeting was made available to the public promptly and remains available to the public in accordance with General Laws, Chapter 30A, Sections 18-25, as amended, further suspended, supplemented, or modified by the executive order of the Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, Chapter 3A, Section 20, dated March 12, 2020. I further certify that the vote has not been amended, supplemented, or revoked and remains in effect on this date. This is dated December 2nd, 2024. And it has a signature spot for my signature. So I guess all we have to do
Can you
now.
just repeat this line here, because he's, just right here. Just that.
So, provisions of the open meeting law, Chapter 30A, Section 20, dated March 12, 2020.
Thank you.
Is that it?
That's correct.
Okay. Do I keep on reading? Or is that it?
That's it.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm signing the section I read, right?
He has the paper, it's in the, it's
Oh, it's in,
our
okay,
thing, yeah.
all the
Yep,
signature
yep,
I
yep.
versions.
think you have to
We're gonna-
make a motion to
We're going to make a
accept.
motion, yeah. So any questions or comments? Questions or comments? Other than
No.
what you said, okay. The board moves to approve the interim loan for the Massachusetts Clean Water Trust. The clerk of the select board will read into the record the required vote motion supplied by Lock and Lord. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Nay.
2-0 vote. Motion carries.
Is that a 2-1 vote?
2-1.
Okay,
It's getting late.
it's getting late. All right.
Okay.
Anything else this evening, Kate? I think we're at the end. I did everything, checked the boxes. I did that already.
Yep, I think
And,
we've done everything.
Anything on the future horizon for us, other than we have the town holiday open house?
Town meeting, a reminder on
And a
town meeting.
reminder, we have special town meeting, Monday, December 16th, 2024. We'll be in the auditorium and the
Gym.
gym. And that begins at 7 PM.
7 PM.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see if those
Okay,
get filled in.
so, in light of all of your hard work, I appreciate everybody here, and thank you to Sean for sticking it out with us. So, thank you all. Seeing no further business on the agenda, the board moves to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to adjourn the meeting on December 2nd.
And the time is 9:03.